Owen, and I've downloaded my app as well. Encourage all your viewers to do the same, because nothing is easier than having, your favorite program.
Make sure to download our app on iOS or Android, Gbkm on either platform.
See, this kind girl me I never see. This kind with some more I never see. Baby girl, take me to your privacy. I don't go for your heart and I'll be Pharisee. Aye, give me energy. Fine girl, give me energy. Give me energy. Baby, make it give me energy. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. A lot of this, a lot of that. Your point time I go give you that. You got the keys to my heart, so calm down, only you I got. Why anything when you do, then they complain, oh, oh, oh. Girl, if I lose you, wait to be again, oh, oh. This kind girl, me I never see. This kind with some more I never see. Baby girl, take me to your privacy. I don't go for your heart and I'll be Pharisee. Aye, give me energy. Fine girl, give me energy. Give me energy. Baby, make it give me energy. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. Oh no more say, you want more say. Baby, that how we want say. I swear, now you be my Beyonce. You get to wait until your body are the fancy. Kuluma, Kuluma. Now your name I see all over. Kuluma, Kuluma. Now your name I see all over. Hey. Give me energy. Bad girl, give me energy. Give me energy. She dey give me energy. Oh, you fine. Although you bad. Mr. Happiness. Why anything when you do, then they complain, oh, oh, oh. Girl, if I lose you, wait to be again, oh, oh.
We've got MP Sahoda, Minister of Parliament from Brampton North.
And I've downloaded my app as well. Encourage all your viewers to do the same, because nothing is easier than having, your favorite program.
Make sure to download our app on iOS or Android, Gbkm on either platform.
Hello and welcome to another GBKM Red Carpet presentation right here from the official Black History Month kickoff brunch hosted by the Ontario Black History Society. Of course, I'll be your red carpet host for this evening, Romain Redmond, and I am the host of the Alternative Show on GBKM FM. So with February being celebrated as Black History Month right here in Canada and across the world, of course, the Ontario Black History Society kicks off its official celebrations here in the province. So they outline the schedules and also just remind us of the reason why we do celebrate the rich history, heritage, and of course the contributions that the Black community has made to the province. So don't go anywhere. We'll be talking to the organizers, dignitaries, officials, and also patrons as they come out to celebrate this monumental event. So stay with GBKM FM. Don't forget our platforms on Facebook at Gbkm TV. Get us on YouTube at Gbkm TV, on our website www.gbkm.fm, also in TuneIn app at GBKM, and you can also get our app from our website and take us with you wherever you go. So don't go anywhere. We'll give you all the exclusive access right here. Well, and I'm being joined by the lovely Fernanda here. But Fernanda, we're at the official Black History Month kickoff lunch, and you said that you were here with your organization is?
It's the Central Technical School Alumni Association.
Wonderful. And why was it important for the association to be at this event, though?
They are great supporters of one of our projects. We have been paying tribute to one of Canada's first Black Olympians, Sam Richardson. So they were supportive of naming the pathway in front of the school after Sam Richardson. And this year, on May 13th, we're going to unveil a Heritage Toronto plaque in his honor. And this was possible through the help of many people, and the Ontario Black History Society was instrumental.
Absolutely. I wanted to say thank you so much for coming and representing, and congratulations on the great work that you're doing. But have a lovely day today, okay?
Thank you.
By Spider here. Of course, I got it correct, right? Wonderful. But you're here at the Black History Month official kickoff. How are you feeling so far, though?
Feeling good. We're really happy with this year's turnout as a board member. You put so much work into this for this annual event to kick off Black History Month, and we've got so many great entertainers and people from all walks of life here today to share a little Black history and have a great time and celebrate.
Absolutely. But after so many years of doing this, it's still important that we do it. And what is the significance of us continuing to do things like these?
Well, obviously the pride. Remember, Black history was not taught in school. So a lot of you, without organizations like the Black Ontario History Society, kids wouldn't know this. And I think that's one of the most important things to emphasize. We, the Black community, has contributed to this nation as much as any other. We have so many people that, for instance, I am the first Black man to go coast to coast on radio.
Wow.
Here in Canada, and that was in 1994 at the Fan 590. So I mean, it took us that long to get there. And one of the things I do is try to share that with the public, what it was like, and you feel sort of excluded and alienated. And from my perspective, there's still not enough people of color in the media, especially in radio. You don't see it. Well, you can't see it, but you don't hear it, and we need more of them in the production room, so we can get different perspectives on the Black community, and so that's one of the reasons that I joined as a board member for the Ontario Black History Society.
Absolutely. I want to just say thank you so much for the work that you have been doing on the committee, on the board, and also putting this event together for us on an annual basis so that we can bask in the pride of our Blackness, right?
Absolutely. It's very important because when I grew up going to school, we didn't know anything about Black history. We really didn't. And so we didn't have the kind of pride that people like Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali and Barack Obama and Malcolm X have instilled into us, about the people like Harriet Tubman and Medgar Evers, and the list goes on and on. We've contributed so much to this great nation.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for joining me on the carpet today. But have a great day today, okay?
My pleasure, thank you.
Joined by the lovely Marika. Of course, and she's of course here supporting the grand effort in launching Black History Month. But Marika, tell me, how are you feeling so far? What's happening in the room?
Oh, I love it. I love the atmosphere, to see everybody coming out of all nationalities and supporting today. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. But as we say, why is it important that you must be here every year, not just this year, but and for those at home too, to come out and support an event like this?
It is very good to see different cultures and different careers. So even for the young generation as well, to see that there's people out there, not just what's on the media, but also to see that we're out here. I'm also in transit, city transit, and I'm also in the healthcare profession.
Wow.
And I'm also on the executive board at QP for my local as well. So we're all out here supporting the cause, and it's beautiful.
And it's wonderful that you should choose to say that, because the lovely thing is I'm seeing literal police commissioners, I'm seeing doctors and lawyers, everyone is here. And even though those are traditional fields of career paths, but everyone is represented.
Absolutely, and that is the beauty of here, just to see that and know that anyone can do this in all various careers. It's beautiful.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining me here. Have a great day.
My father is an inspiration to all us, all the sons. And I just want to say to my dad, thank you for everything, and we appreciate what you've done for us and how you've raised us to be fine young men and honest men. I just want to say thank you to you.
I'm being joined here by or local police here, Peel Region Police, but especially special here today is of course Mrs. Berkeley Brown. But Mrs. Brown, events like this, launching Black History Month, of course yourself being off our group, but of course the police getting involved in initiatives like these.
Right, absolutely. This is one of the important events. As an organization, Peel Regional Police is committed to working with the community, and of course that includes the Black community. So events like this is just kind of what propels us to continue to do that work and try to make the inroads with the community.
Absolutely, and I know that one of the mission for the police department is really bridging that gap between the department and the community. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
And I'm speaking for Peel. Yes. In Peel, that is a key thing, because we all know that to build trust, develop trust, it is about working within the community. In Peel, we have what we call our community mobilization team, and that's a group of officers who are committed to being in the community, getting to work with the community. We've got a new chief, Chief Nishan Duriapa. One of the things we do is we've got various advisory committee. One of those is the Black Community Advisory, the Chief's Black Advisory Committee. So that is made up of leaders and members of the Black community of Peel.
Wonderful, but are you liking the turnout here today, because it's a full room?
Absolutely. Listen, as a woman of color and a member who is committed to community development, when I see groups like this, it's inspirational, it's inspiring, and it makes me as an individual want to do even more and get so much more involved with the community. I love it.
Absolutely. I want to just say thank you so much for joining me on the carpet here today, but enjoy the rest of the day, okay?
I will. Thank you so much.
You see, I've been around a long time, and you know I pay my dues. All right, come on, wait a minute for me.
Of course, and right now I'm being joined by the president of the Ontario Black History Society, and I tell you the efforts that herself and her team has put together for this event is absolutely spectacular, and she's just going to give us some insight into that. But Miss Henry, of course, congratulations to you on today's stage.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you can join us. It's great to see a wonderful turnout, another sold-out event as we celebrate our 32nd annual kickoff brunch for Black History Month. And so, I'm looking forward to a great program.
Yes.
Yes.
But of course, you are the president, but putting together events like these, I mean, the official launch of Black History Month, give us some insights into what that is like for the board and yourself. I know it's busy.
Our board is phenomenal. We have a great group of volunteers and our office staff, our manager Michelle and our office assistant Pam, and we have student interns. We start planning, months in advance.
Absolutely.
It takes quite a bit to pull this off, and so, we have a real good effort to help pull things through together for this day. And when we come here and we see the turnout and how much people really enjoy it, it really makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely. But 37 years, why is it still important, as it was 37 years ago, to have events like this and celebrate Black culture, not just here in the city, in the province?
Well, it's our 32nd.
32nd.
And, you know, this is our premier fundraising event. The Ontario Black History Society is a nonprofit organization. And a lot of the work that we do, of course, is to preserve and disseminate information about Black history. And so this event really, the funds raised through this helps us to do that, helps us to put on programming throughout the year, as well to help educate other people and to bring this information to the wider public. And so it remains important because people still do not know a lot about Black history in Canada, and the fact that people of African descent have been here for over 400 years. We still do have the reality that in the curriculum there isn't anything that students have to learn around the Black presence in Ontario or in Canada. And so that's some of the gaps that we work to continue to fill, along with working with other organizations across the province, some of the heritage sites, in order to support them with the wonderful programming that they offer as well. And so our work remains very relevant, and we really appreciate all the support that we get.
Wonderful, but how do we continue though throughout the year, not just at this event, but throughout the year to support the organization Ontario Black History Society? I know phenomenal work going into research and all that fun stuff. How can we get involved as a community and as Ontario in general?
Well, one of the key things, as I said, because we're a nonprofit, you know, funding really does help to make our programming go a long way. And so we're always encouraging people to become members of the Ontario Black History Society. You can find information on our website. We're always looking for sponsors as well for some of our events. For example, this past year was the first time that the second time that we had our Emancipation Day event open to the public, something that was more of a private event before. But because of funding and sponsorship from TD Bank, we were and Canadian Heritage, we were able to open it to the public, and almost 300 people attended. So that speaks to the interest and the need for the events that we put on. And so these are some of the ways that people can support us. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and you can keep abreast of all the events that we're hosting, and to come out and show up and show your support for us in that way.
Absolutely. And also, guys, definitely, because you see the thing is with our community, we need to band together, and the police said that earlier today. She's over the moon to see the turnout today, but of course I know you must be happy especially.
I'm thrilled, and our theme this year is Ubuntu, I am because we are, and that really is the sentiment that we want to express, the collectivity and the solidarity. It's glad to see that here today, and it's something that's important for us, for our young people, and for our community to remember, to as a way to move forward. And so I'm really glad that people can join in that theme with us this year.
So then I want to say congratulations to you on behalf of GBKM, but of course we'll definitely see you on the inside. Thank you for talking with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Because Sister Rose, we're out on back to bus no more. Sister Rose was tired one day after a hard day on the job. All she wanted was a brother's Thursday, not a song from an angry mom.
What's an event without, of course, our wonderful president and CEO, Mr. Kenny Baswe? I mean, this is a guy that works tirelessly to ensure that we are here at every event showcasing our very best. But of course, Mr. Baswe, being a part of this event, though, just give us your feelings.
First of all, Mr. Redman, thank you very much. You're doing a wonderful job. Shout out to Ontario Black History Society for bringing us on board this year. This is great, epic. Everybody is here. It's sold out. We're very proud. We're very happy to be part of this great initiative, great movement that is touching life in Ontario and worldwide overall. And we believe and we hope to keep this relationship going and expand on it and touch more lives.
I know from your vision at Gbkm that you are a person who is really interested in terms of being careful with the contracts and the events that we take. But of course, Black History Month and its celebration, how important it is to you personally and also for the culture and vision and mission of Gbkm FM.
Thank you very much. This tied directly to the apron of Gbkm FM. If you go to our website and look into our mission statement, you will see that this tied directly to the apron of our mission statement. We're established to promote Africa Black cultural heritage and more. So being part of this and participating in an event like this is like a fulfillment for us. It's like an achievement for us because our goal is to join hands together. And to answer your direct question, the world is becoming a global village.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, we all have to put hands together, beat by beat, and take it to another level. It's been a while. It's been a long time people have been saying our story for us. It's hard time now we come together and say our story for ourselves.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for that, Mr. Basway, but of course, and thank you for being the champion that you are, and for keeping me in a job, of course, keeping me in a job, but of course.
You guys are doing a good job.
It's our pleasure. It's our
So I am here with Adoma. Adoma, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do, love?
Great. So yes, my name is Adoma Patterson, and I'm president of the Jamaican Canadian Association, located in Toronto.
Awesome. How is it being the Jamaican Canadian Association?
So you know what? It's a lot of work, but it's a fantastic opportunity. The JCA, most people know it as the JCA, is 58 years old this year. And so I'm the 17th president of the organization, and so I follow a long line of people who have done a lot, not only for the organization, but for the Black community in the Greater Toronto area. And so I'm quite honored to be the current president, overseeing this massive and very important organization in the GTA.
Because you work so closely with a lot of great Black leaders, how does it feel being at this brunch this evening?
So we're always happy to support the OBHS brunch. We are here every year. They are one of our partners because we know that together we are stronger. That when we support each other, when we highlight and celebrate the best in our community, both young and old, that it's an important story for our young people. And so JCA, again, being 58 years old, has always helped to build the capacity of the community and to make sure that our stories are being told. And so we are very, very thrilled to once again support the brunch.
Amazing. Well, you look great, love, and we'll see you in there.
Such fun and such pleasure to meet upon Gbkm royalties. Of course, the Honorable Dr. Jean Augustine is no stranger to Gbkm, a firm for support of Gbkm FM, but of course today she's here at the official launch for the Ontario Black History Month with the Ontario Black History Society, and this is a lady of many firsts herself. But of course, Dr. Augustine, how are you feeling? Let me start with that.
Good morning, and it's a great opportunity for us to greet each other at the beginning and the opening of Black History Month 2020 in Canada.
But of course, as I said, you're a lady of many firsts. You're one of the very first to sit on Parliament Hill as a female person of color. How was that experience?
Well, that was a great experience, but for me, the legacy thing is what's happening today. It was my motion that created Black History Month in Canada, and so I'm very, very proud and pleased as I see the crowd and I see celebrations all across this country where we're recognizing the talent, the skills, the abilities of people of African descent and their contribution to Canada.
Absolutely, and that was at the turn of the 21st century that we actually got the recognition for Black History Month. And some would think that for so long we had to wait for it, but of course you're the champion who really delivered it to us.
Well, I think it was important in 1993 to have all the members of Parliament recognize the importance of our history. Those of us who were in education realized that the modules and the things that we were teaching in social studies and in history did not include the indigenous people of African descent and others. And so what we're doing now is really amending Canadian history, making sure that we insert those very important issues that make us all Canadian, and that Black history is not just about Black people, it's Canadian history, and it's about our contribution to Canadian history.
And of course, we want to say thank you so much for pioneering that important step in our upward mobility as a society. And of course, do enjoy the rest of the day, okay? We'll give you some more time to sit down and just enjoy the ambience of your work.
Thank you very much.
You got to be singing the blues. Well, I chuckle a little bit and says, a lot of people ask me that question. I'm going to tell you right now just why I sing the blues. Everybody want to know why I sing the blues. Everybody want to know just why I sing the blues. Well, you see, I've been around a long time.
joined here by no strange face to Gbkm FM, and definitely no strange face to me. It's MPP Mitzi Hunter, of course, candidate for leadership of the Liberals, Ontario Liberal Party. But of course, Missy, you're here celebrating today the official launch, Black History Month in the province. I know you've been talking a lot. You've been very vocal about moving the community forward. Give us some more words for that.
Well, it's really awesome to be here on the start of Black History Month, and the Ontario Black History Society always does this brunch as a way to welcome this very special month of reflecting on the importance of Black history here in Canada and the legacy that we have as Black Canadians to building this province and this country. And it's a month that we can celebrate and really inform the broader community of the contributions that Black Canadians have made to Canada.
Absolutely, and being in politics, just the 21st of January, we celebrated Sir Alexander's been named his day. That's his day now. But of course, how important is you standing in the House to say, yes, thank you so much for that?
Well, that was really amazing. Obviously, Lincoln Alexander is an upstanding Canadian from the Black community. He was the first Black person elected to Parliament and served, provincially as well as our Lieutenant Governor. And so to give a day in recognition of the contribution of Lincoln Alexander, I was really honored to be a parliamentarian in the province of Ontario to endorse that, to support it. It's another way of really celebrating Black excellence and letting particularly young people know of the legacy and the contributions of many, many Black Canadians to Ontario and Canada's history.
But of course, you have been very, as I said, vocal on your platform in your campaign for leadership of the Ontario Liberal Party about policies that really reflects the Ontario society. Shed some more light on that for us, please.
So I'm really thrilled to be the change candidate in the race to lead the Ontario Liberal Party and to be Ontario's next premier. And of course, it's history making, and it's an opportunity to really put forward a new face, a new voice, and new ideas for the future of our province. So I'm absolutely thrilled. My platforms include things, like mental health support for young people under the age of 30. I'm really championing the very important issue of gun violence and safety in our community, making gun violence a public health concern so that we can do preventative programs and keep our communities and our neighborhoods safe. Also, of course, education. As the former Minister of Education in Ontario, I have an opportunity to put forward policies that really go beyond what we're seeing right now with the chaos in our classrooms under the current government, and to really focus on excellence and how do we get our graduation rates up to 90%, which includes all students of all backgrounds and all communities, making sure that they succeed in school and have the opportunity to go on to more fulfilling lives and to really choose their career path moving forward.
Absolutely, Ms. Hunter. Thank you so much for joining us on the carpet here today. But do have a great time on the inside, okay?
Thank you, as always.
You are welcome.
Nice to be here with Gbkm at Gbkm FM.
Must be told about Sister Rosa Parks. She decided she wasn't going to take it no more. And it goes a little something like this.
Of course, we have to thank all the support that we're getting here at the official Black History Month kickoff brunch hosted by the Ontario Black History Society. And of course, I'm being joined by leader of the NDP here and also the official opposition at Queen's Park representing the community. But of course, Ms. Harvath, how does it feel to be here with us today?
Well, it's always a fantastic event, and it's nice to be in a different venue to kind of change things up a little bit. Lots more room, and as you can see, there's such a buzz happening. People are, really thrilled to be here, as am I, to be here again, because it's really so important to make sure that we are not only, acknowledging and reflecting on the fantastic contributions of the diaspora of Black communities that have built our province, but also making sure that we are recommitting ourselves to some of the challenges that we still face here in this province, and we have to acknowledge that and tackle it.
Absolutely, and I know your platform is big on inclusivity and really ensuring that policies are created so as to ensure that all communities move together in unison, but shed some more light on that for us.
Well, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we think everybody should have an opportunity to build a great life here, but we know there are some systemic barriers that prevent that from happening, and so, I mean, we are very disappointed that the province seems to be going going backwards in that regard, and some of the proactive work that we convinced the previous government to undertake, like the Anti-Racism Directorate, is kind of being whittled away at by this government, and that's unfortunate because we need those kinds of institutions, if you will, to continue on a consistent basis to fight against those systemic barriers and to make sure that people do have every opportunity to thrive and to build, as I said, a great and successful life here.
But as in terms of going forward, though, on the NDP's platform, when with you as a leader in the House representing as the official opposition, though, what can we expect? More pushing forward?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we've established the very first Black Caucus in the history of our province. So our Black Caucus has been, empowered with making sure that we, no matter what file we're looking at, whether it's housing, whether it's healthcare, whether it's economic development and jobs, that we are specifically looking at how do we push forward a program that it takes consideration of the Black community particularly, and how do we make sure that in our work we're always trying to tackle those barriers. And so whether it's pushing up against the government and dealing with things like the continued statistics that show an overrepresentation of Black young men in the criminal justice system, or whether that's making sure that Black kids at school don't see more negative outcomes in terms of suspensions and expulsions than other kids. These are things that we need to admit are happening and tackle them, and that's what we're doing.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for coming out and supporting this event today, of course, Ms. Harvat, and thank you for just being the wonderful person that you are and representing the province, of course.
Well, my pleasure. I'm going to enjoy the afternoon like everyone else.
Sure will. Joined by MPP here, Mr. Kosovic. I got it right?
Tom
Rakosovic.
Yes.
Mr. Tom Rakosovic. But of course, being an MP in the area, I must say how important it is in your constituents and serving in, of course, our Queen's Park or Parliament to represent the issues of your community in your riding.
It is, well, it's a great honor and privilege. Humber River Black Creek has been my lifelong home. I grew up as a tenant in the area, saved up with my family, and have a home there now, and it's my favorite place in the world.
But of course, Black History Month, though, and celebrating with the members of your riding who are a part of the Black community, and as their MP, what are you pushing forward for them, and what are you pushing forward for the building of Ontario itself?
Well, I'm with the official opposition in the NDP, and we're pushing for strong investments in education, you name it. We're pushing for the policies that represent the average person, not the wealthiest, not the ones that have everything their way, but those like the people in my community, regular, everyday working families that are struggling to make ends meet and feel disrespected. That's not right.
And of course, you're there to ensure that those ills are corrected. But of course, the Ontario Black History Society, though, I want to just commend them on the work that they're doing as the MP in the area.
I want to thank the Ontario Black History Society for their important work, this incredible event. And I always want to thank Gbkm, who's doing great work. I love your interviews. I love speaking to you, and you're really doing a great job.
Absolutely. And thank you, sir, for joining me on the carpet. But do have a great time on the inside, okay? And of course, I'm being joined by Naki here. I tell you, I'm loving the colors, but of course, you're with TD today.
Thank you. I'm with TD. I'm the Associate Vice President of Social Impact.
Absolutely. But social impact, Black History Month, mix those together for us.
There's so much to say. I mean, the importance of events like this is that we need to hear more stories. We need to hear more narratives. We need to hear different versions of what we call history. And so the Ontario Black History Society does a really important job of both capturing the history that has come behind us, but also the history that's happening today. People are making achievements that are going to be part of the stories we tell our children in generations to come.
Absolutely, but social impact and the banking sector, finances, that's two different lanes. How do they mix?
They actually mix very, very closely. More and more people are expecting corporations like banks to take a stand on big issues. And so as a bank, we feel it's our responsibility to contribute to the communities in which we work.
Absolutely. And of course, Naki, I want to say thank you so much for sponsoring such a lovely event and being a part of the upward mobility for the community. That's for one. But we'll definitely be seeing you on the inside. And thank you for joining me on the carpet.
My dad, thank you for everything. And we appreciate what you've done for us and how you've raised us to be fine young men and honest men. I just want to say thank you to you from the bottom of my heart.
I'm being joined here by Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey, here we're supporting the official launch kickoff of Black History Month, but you yourself is a stalwart in the Black community.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm just really glad to be here to help celebrate Black History Month and Black culture, Black people with the OBHS.
And you'll be delivering the keynote address today.
Well, that's right, yes. I am honored and humbled to be the recipient of the Daniel G. Hill III Award and to be offering some of my own remarks to the audience.
But some of those points that you touched on, and don't give us our speech, but the importance of really celebrating Black pride, Black culture, Black history, shed some more light on that. Why is it so important, even today's day, to keep doing that?
Well, you know, there are a lot of forces working against the expression of Black people in society. So those might be just anti-Black racism, those might be institutional problems, and we need to be able to, first of all, assert our presence, that we've been here for hundreds of years in this country, that we have a lot to contribute, that we have something to say, and that this helps us do that.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you so much. I'm not going to have you talk anymore because you're going to be giving us the keynote address, so just save the voices so that you can do a great job. But thank you for joining me on the carpet, sir, Mr. Bailey, and have a wonderful day.
I sing the blues. Well, you see, I've been around a long time.
Perfect. And I'm being joined by Lisa right now. But Lisa, here at the official Black History Month kickoff brunch, though, why is it important that you had to be here today?
Oh, I had to be here because this is the foundation and the roots of all of us. And they're really focused on education, well-being, excellence, and the fabulousness of Blackness.
Celebrating our pride.
Right, absolutely. And it's more than that. It's this idea that everybody uses this word Black excellence, but it's more than excellence.
By MPP for Brampton North, of course, Mr. Kevin Yard. But Mr. Yard, coming out to the official launch of the Ontario Black History Month celebrations, though hosted by the Ontario Black History Society. As an MPP representing your constituency, who has a huge amount of persons of Black community and also visible minorities, what does this mean to you personally and on your platform?
It means a lot to me. And not only am I a member of the NDP, the first Black caucus in Ontario as well, and I'm also a member of the Ontario Black History Society. This is the turnout here is spectacular. There's literally over 1,000 people I think are going to be here today, and it's to celebrate Black history, celebrate Black achievement, and we don't get to do that too often. I mean, I know there's Black History Month, but we should be celebrating this throughout the year, and it means a lot to me in my community. We have a large Black population in Brampton North and in Brampton in general. And this is great to be here and represent the fine folks of Brampton North, and of course to continue to push for social and economic justice for Black youth as well as for Black people in Canadian society. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about that as well here today.
Absolutely, and going off that too, I know one of the platforms that you have campaigned hard on and the NDP is campaigning hard on is really getting curriculums in school that is representative of the Black community, inclusive rather, of the Black community and minority group. But spread some more light on that for us.
Sure, exactly. We have actually are pushing the government to talk about anti-Black racism in the Peel School Board. Too many times we hear from parents calling my constituency office saying my son or daughter is being streamed into different curriculum. They are being told if they do something wrong in the school, instead of being disciplined, they are getting expelled. Or they're getting extreme forms of discipline. So there's a lot going on, not just in the Peel School Board, but right across Ontario. So we want the government to take a look at this, hard look at it, and to address any concerns in terms of anti-Black racism. So that's part of the Black Caucus that I'm a part of with Jill Andrew, Faisal Hassan, as well as Rima Burns and Laura May Lindo. So the five of us are going to continue to push the government to look at not just systemic racism in school boards, but other areas such as economic justice, social justice as well for the Black community.
Wonderful. But as you continue to do that fight for us at Queen's Park, what can we do to aid in that effort?
Well, if you should always approach your MPP, whether it's Conservative, Liberal, NDP, and talk to them if you have any concerns, because we'll never always know unless you come forward with your concerns, and then we can address it at Queen's Park. So that's why we're here, to listen to you.
A long time. I paid my dues.
What's a celebration without a little performance, right? Right now I'm being joined by Julie Black, who will be giving us a splendid performance throughout the day. But Julie, though, you're here today. How do you feel?
I feel blessed. I feel privileged. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm here to represent Carolina or Change, which is the musical that I'm a part of.
Oh.
I'm the lead in that play.
Nice.
It's starting January 30th at the Winter Garden. And it's just nice to be in a space with tones and pigments that look like me.
Absolutely. But and I was just going to follow up with that. But how important it is to lend your talents to events like these, though?
Well, I think that, it's one thing to come in to just be like, okay, I'm going to lend my talent. And it's another thing to be purposeful and have an intention. And so I never show up unless there's a reason that's going to be, mutually beneficial, that's going to serve and soothe the soul.
And really impactful.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to your performance tonight. But thank you so much for coming, and do have a great day, okay? Can't be anything like Black History Celebration without fashion. And of course, I'm being joined by Stella by Designs, and you can see what's happening here. Just give us a spin, a quick spin. You have to show off your work. Wonderful. But of course, Stella, you were just telling me of the wonderful things that you are doing. Shed some more light on that for us.
Well, first of all, we have African Fashion Week that comes up every August, and that is to promote couture designs from London, England. I'm a designer myself. For Canada's 150, I did a whole bunch of Afrocentric sheets and pillowcases to commemorate Canada's 150. And I constantly designing, but I'm also an advocate. We're talking about Regent Park, just put out a film called Farewell Regent. And there's a lot of things that we have to be mindful happening in the city of Toronto.
But of course, being a part of the official kickoff brunch today, though, how important was that for Stella by Design, yourself personally, to get involved?
Well, first of all, I was invited because the MP couldn't show up, and we do the work. It's important for me to be here because it's one of the first events I've been to in many years, and then I follow by the mayor invites me to his event to commemorate Black History Month. So it's a whole slew of events throughout the whole month.
Yeah. And that's the thing that the Ontario Black History Society is going to be unveiling for us today. Of course, the schedule for the month as we continue in our celebration. But of course, Stella, thank you so much for joining me on the carpet today.
Let me hear you. All night long. All night long.
Wonderful. And the great part about your celebration is that everyone comes out to celebrate. And of course, I'm being joined by this gentleman here. So just give us an introduction, please.
My name is Faisal Hassan. I'm the Member of Provincial Parliament for the Great Riding of York Southwestern, which is a part of the northwestern part south of the 401.
Yes. And of course, but the great city of Toronto, though, and of course, the Ontario Black History Society is celebrating Black Pride in our city and in our province, though. How does that speak to your platform? I know you're a champion for all that and really bringing the community together. Just shed some more light on that for us.
Well, as a member of the Black Caucus, member of the official opposition, it is an honor for me to celebrate our history and the reflections of the last year, and also remembering the past and making sure that the community is vibrant and strong, and that we don't forget about our history, and we are proud of who we are, and also to continue to fight for opportunities for the community and also the larger community as well.
And I know your platform, and of course the NDP's platform, speaks widely about really getting the community active in policy making. I know they've had consultations in terms of like budgets and community programs. Give us a little more, bit more on that, please.
Definitely, as a member of the Black Caucus and the member of the official opposition, and also the critic for the youth engagement, I think we need to make sure that the community has to be listened, and I think the community also has been studied to death. It is time for action to translate those and also deal with the important issues that we have in terms of education, healthcare, and also jobs, opportunities, also auto insurance, childcare. It's huge issues. We have been neglected for the last 30 years, especially the last 15 years, from bad to worse. And we need to make sure that the community also gets involved and be part of the resistance to make sure that we are heard, and we will. As a member of the official opposition, and I'm a member also of the Black Caucus, we want to listen to the Black community, our community, to make sure that this time around that we are not just dashed our hopes and our dreams. As the last 15 years, we have been let down, and we want to make sure that it never happens again, and we fight together to make sure our issues are addressed.
Feedback, I think. Anyway.
Of course, I'm being joined by Mr. Herschel, of course, with the Toronto Film Festival, Black Film Festival, of course, and you're here to tell us about some exciting ventures for our Black community.
Yes, so basically it's starting on February the 12th. It ends on February the 17th. 6-day event where we just showcase a lot of Black films, a lot of Black projects. Not necessarily Black-centric, but people that are going to be giving projects and stories that have a Black theme in it. It starts on the Wednesday, which is opening night. The headliner event is with Spike Lee on the Thursday, and he's going to be having a Q&A event afterwards where people can sit down and just listen to him talk. The last day is going to be on Family Day, where you can bring your kids and your loved ones and grandkids, and everyone can have a good time and watch
family entertainment.
Family entertainment on a Monday, on a day off where no one's working. So
on a Monday,
so there's no excuse to not come. So make sure you're there.
But how can we get tickets and all that stuff though?
So you go on TorontoBlackFilm.com. Get all the information there, and you'll be good to go.
And of course, in terms of supporting Black stories and Black creators, how important that, I know the organization was built on the foundations of that, but how important is it for society to accept that and of course really support?
I think it's very important. I think it's actually vital for our community to thrive, because we have to be in control of our own content. We have to be in control of our narrative. If we have some other people talking about what we've gone through or what we intend to go through moving forward, it's not going to resonate as well if we're not the ones talking about it. So we need to be the ones behind the camera telling the stories just as much as we're the ones in front of it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Blackburn.
Joined by the lovely Miss Christine Mathlin, and of course Christine Mathlin is no stranger to Gbkm FM, but of course today she's here supporting the official Black History Month kickoff hosted by the Ontario Black History Society.
Yes, no, it's important. It's important to be here to celebrate Black accomplishment and Black history. Too many times we're forgotten out of history books, and we don't have an opportunity to use our voices, but many of us celebrate it every single day, so we don't have to celebrate Black History Month only for February. It's every day, every of the whole year.
Absolutely. But even for younger folks coming up, though, why is it important for us to get in the spirit of really celebrating the pride that we have in the Black community?
Well, it's important because the reality is everything that we have benefited from has come from our ancestors and the past that they've paid for us. So we need to celebrate it. We need to know our history. And if we don't know our history, then we won't know our path going.
This event be today without, of course, the vision of our sitting board member for the Ontario Black History Society, and being joined by Miss Dorothy, your treasurer.
Yes, I am, Dorothy Abbott.
Dorothy Abbott.
Paulette Kelly, I'm a board member.
Absolutely. But ladies, putting this together, I'm going to touch on the finances. I'm going to relieve you of the treasury duty for today, but just let us focus on the importance of really putting on events like this and ensuring that each year we have something like this to come to, even if it's just to build up the pride for Black History Month.
Oh, absolutely. We need to do a big build-up every year because it's really important to get the word out there. It's important to draw all the people in the Black communities together and invite people from other communities to come out and experience with us.
Absolutely. But of course, sitting on the board, what has that experience been like?
It's been really very gratifying to see so many people coming together, doing this large event. It's been very, very successful. And we get a chance also to connect with people we don't always see every day.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
But of course, ladies, you sit on the board and you have all the inside knowledge. Next year, what can we expect? Any snippets you can throw away this year?
No, once this event is over, then you go back to the drawing board and start fresh for the next year. But I have to grab this opportunity to say I also sit on the board of another Black organization.
And that is?
That's the Owen Sound Emancipation Festival. And it's been celebrating in Owen Sound for over 157 years. So that happens in August 1st, Emancipation Day. Another big event that we need to get the communities to come out and join and celebrate and learn their history with us.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you, ladies, for your work here today. I see everything is coming together wonderfully so far. And let's hope the day just progresses on that trend, right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
So then thank you for joining us, for joining me. Thank you.
All night long.
See when gentlemen come out and support events like this, and of course Femi here and Dwayne looking ever so dapper in their suits. They just complimented me on my jacket, but these guys took it. But of course, tell us, why is it important for you guys to be here today, though?
I think it's important for us to be here. Myself and Dwayne, being a director, he just finished wrapping up work with Lauryn Hill, traveling with Chronics across the world, doing a tour. And this is, a friend of mine that, since we were young, we kind of been developing our dreams. So, coming into this room around other black, influencers, some movers and shakers, I think it's important that, they get to see, we get to feel, we get to share stories and connect with one another.
But Dwayne, Lauryn Hill is my favorite artist, female of all times, but of course, and she's really one of those persons who have represented the black culture. What kind of inspiration have you taken from her?
Man, working with Lauryn Hill, she's the definition of hard work and detail, and how important it is to really stick together. She's very hands-on, and yeah, me traveling the world and being able to come back to my home city to kind of represent what I've been able to accomplish myself and just share it amongst the black community is important. So we stand for that, and we're hoping to connect and build wealth and build ownership within our black community.
And I want to continue on that, because the thing is, we're the ones who are going to have to take all this and move it into the future. What are your plans for that?
Well, we're already in motion. First, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to build ourselves and build our circles. And then once we have something to offer to our community, that's what we're going to do. Because a lot of times, we spread ourselves thin without having our own plans. So we're working on that. And then, we have big plans, multi-million-dollar plans in the works.
Absolutely. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. But do enjoy the rest of the event. Okay, sir?
I'm fantastic. It's Mark Andrews. I'm the Deputy Chief of Peel Regional Police. And I'm here to help kick off the celebrations for Black History Month. This is something I do every year. I've done this, I think, my fourth year? Fourth or fifth. The years start blending into each other, and I'm at that age where I don't remember everything. But for me, this is a very important occasion. We need to celebrate Black History Month, but we need to celebrate Black history, period. Because Black history is Canadian history. We're part of the fabric of this community, and we have worked hard to help build Canada and take Canada to where it is, starting with before Canada was Canada.
That is so true. No, I agree with you. What would you say? How would you say we are connecting Black History Month with this event and whatever is going on?
Well, what I'm seeing here is different segments of the Black diaspora come together under one roof to celebrate all of our shared history and shared culture.
And connecting with the department and the community. What are your plans for that?
Well, our connection to community goes beyond just celebrating history and cultural events. It's about really understanding our communities, showing our communities that we value them, we value their voices, that we want to engage with them in a positive way. The founder of modern day policing said the police are the community and the community is the police. The public is the police. So we have to be part of our communities, we have to engage with our communities, and our communities have to understand that we are them. And by extension, it's not just about race or ethnicity or religious, it's about real, meaningful, authentic understanding.
I really love. I said I love. I love my
My name is Sharif Sabawi. I'm the MPP for Mississauga, Erin Mills, and I'm the PA for the Ministry of Heritage, Sports, Culture, and Tourism.
Perfect. Can you tell us about some policies or some things that are going to be in place sooner than later in the future that has got to do with the Black community and the city of Mississauga?
First of all, I would like to congratulate the Black community with the month, Heritage Month of the Black community. I am African as well. I'm Egyptian origin, so I consider myself African. And I really happy to see activities in the African community. And as a Ministry of Heritage, Culture, Tourism and Sports, we have lots of programs to help the organizations who are promoting the heritage and promoting the different cultures. And as African and as MPP, I would love to see more activities in this side. We need to raise the awareness of the Canadians, of the contributions of the African origin, the Afro-Canadians who did contribute to building the new Canada.
Representing the Canadian Black Chambers of Commerce. But of course, ladies, just tell us your involvement here today. Why is it important that we had to be here? Everyone has to be here.
So it's important that we come together as a community, celebrate our culture, look around, we're so beautiful. Today, it just shows the growth of the Canadian Black and, our culture. So I think it's important for us to be here.
Absolutely. And before we go any further, you didn't give me your name and tell me all the things that I told you to say on camera.
No problem. So my name is Raven Carolinen, and I'm one of the founding members of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely. And lovely to hear.
My name is Andrea Barrett. I am also one of the founding members of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely. But the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce, though, and involvement in events like this and partnering with, of course, the Ontario Black History Society, what does that partnership look like from now going into the future, though?
Well, it's like Raven said, really important to be here. We support the OBHS. We come to all of their events, and we like to bring the angle of Black business history. So talk about where we've been and where we're going and where we are currently. So it's important to, as Raven said, to collaborate and work together with all the organizations in Ontario and in fact in Canada that support the Black community.
Absolutely. And you mentioned where we're going. Where are we going? Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce.
Well, Romain, I'm so glad you asked that question. We have actually just launched the next phase, which is we want to launch a credit union. So the first Black financial institution in Ontario. So we've just started the pilot. So we're doing a survey. So we're asking everyone to fill out the survey. They can email us at info@blackchamber.ca or visit our website at www.blackchamber.ca. We're working in collaboration with the Jamaican Canadian Association and the Lion Circle. So the goal is to have our own financial institution, a credit union, where we can, so it's for us, by us. So one of the struggles Black business owners have is access to capital. So I've seen people with great business plans and money in the bank, and banks have denied them. So it's time for us to do it ourselves, and we can do it ourselves.
So yes, we sure can. And of course, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. But do enjoy the rest of the day, okay? Looking ever so much.
All night long. All night long. All night long. Well, I've been around a long time. I really love. I said I love. I love my blues. And all right. Ladies and gentlemen, Blackburn.
Hello and good evening and happy Monday, February the 22nd. Another happy Black History Month day, night, evening. Welcome to the Smart Investing Show with yours truly, Alton Brooks. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this evening, and I thank you for tuning in. Tonight is a special night, as the guest of honor is none other than myself, aka the Wolf of Wall Street and Bay Street. Now, some of you may be wondering, and some have actually asked me, how did you come up with this name? Well, this name actually was bestowed upon me by many different individuals, hence why it became sort of something that just took a life of its own. You know, over the last year or so, I've been testing out a proprietary stock trading system that I developed. And I had a few subjects who were actually trying it out live with their own hard-earned cash. And thankfully for them, they were able to do very well with it. And they, for some reason, kept referring to me as the wolf, because for some reason I had this uncanny ability to siphon out some really good trades. So with these various folks inundating me with that name, it just became something that had its own legs. So when it comes to stocks, Alton turns into the wolf. So therefore, now you know where I got that name from. So tonight is a night where I'm going to take a little time and I'm going to talk to you specifically about how you can start looking at making some investments on your own and how you can use some simple ideas to try and better that for you. I'm going to go through some slides that's going to break down simply what some of the things you should be looking at is, and simply just ideas on what you should think about when making or thinking about making investments in the market. Many people have gone out and taken their online courses. I know many are using YouTube. You're also at your smartphone, you're trying to do your daily trades, but many of you really don't know what to do or how to do it, or if you do it, what exactly is next. So for tonight and for next week, I'm going to be breaking down for you some of the things that you should be looking at. So we're going to go to our first slide, which I'm going to break down on a few things for you. So first of all, you want to get in the market, you don't know how to do that. Well, what you would first need to do is open what's called a trading account. And it's very simple. Many of our major banks, brokerage firms, online, they offer these, and what that allows you to do is to put money inside of them, and you determine what you want to do with it. You can leave it in your cash, or you can buy stocks, or you can buy lots of other things. But mainly what we're going to talk about for tonight is opening an account that will allow you to trade stocks. So whether it's one of the big five and one of their brokerage arms, or whether it's Wealthsimple or Robinhood or any of the other types of online accounts that are out there, the first thing you need to do is to put some money into one of these accounts to get yourself ready to go. You can start with as little as $500 or even $1,000, but as little as $500. And if you don't have $500 today, just make a plan on how you can save that. If you save $50 a week for the next 10 weeks, there's $500. Or if you save $100 a month for the next 5 months, there's $500. So once you have your savings going, deposit that into your brand new account that you've opened up. You go from there. One of the most important things to do when it comes to investing is to start early. Because the earlier you start is the more you can take advantage of what we call compound interest, compounding your returns. And what that means is that when you invest today and you get a return on that, whether it's a month or a year from now, you now can reinvest that return back with your original starting amount and therefore get to high returns even faster. So the sooner you start that is the better off you'll be at building up those nest eggs. So you're looking at opening an account. You go sit down with your investment advisor or someone in the bank, what do? Well, there are a couple of different things to look at. What you want to look at is accounts that you can manage yourself. And those are called self-directed investment accounts. So that's one of the buzzwords that you want to be able to understand. Self-directed means that you, and only you, will decide what investments you put inside of your account. If you want to keep cash, that's your option. If you want to keep it in stocks, that's your option. If you want to buy something else, GIC, that's your option. So a self-directed investment account, thing that you'd like to open. Now, when it comes to self-directed investment accounts, there are a couple of different options. You can look at registered accounts or non-registered accounts. Registered accounts mainly offer you tax savings. These are instruments that either upfront will offer you some tax savings, or during the course of owning those instruments will offer you tax savings, or at the time of withdrawing it can offer you less taxes. For instance, a Tfsa, otherwise known as a tax-free savings account. This allows you to deposit monies, make as much money as you want to make, and you can take it all out tax-free. So for instance, if you deposit $1,000 into a Tfsa, and you're lucky enough to make $10,000 out of that, that entire $10,000 sum is yours to keep. Our Rsp, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. This is an instrument that many people, especially those that are working, use to lower their taxes and to increase their tax refunds at tax time, like we're currently at. While in this account, all of your returns are tax-free. So theoretically, if you start early into an RRSP, you can hold it for 20, 30 years, and everything that you accumulate in that account is tax-free. The only time you will pay tax is when you decide to withdraw at a future date. And if you're smart about how you withdraw, you can minimize your taxes then. So again, this is another great instrument in order to increase your wealth. For those with children, including myself, you should be looking at self-directed RESPs, which is Registered Education Savings Plans. What this allows you to do is to control the type of investments that your funds are being used for to try to get better returns. So when your child is ready to go off to college or university or travel around the world to study, there won't be an issue because you'd have made returns that would have been tax-free, returns that would have compounded over a number of years, and now you can pass that on to your children and have them enjoy the education that they would like. Now, you get to retirement where you have a RRIF, otherwise known as a RIF, Registered Retirement Income Fund. Again, savings in here are tax-free until you decide to withdraw that. So these registered accounts have some sort of tax savings implications. Non-registered accounts offer no tax savings. Some of these would be, for instance, a cash account. One of the advantages of a non-registered account is that there is no maximum. With most registered accounts, it is dependent on income. There are maximum, there are limits. So you're limited by how much you can actually deposit in those accounts. When it comes to non-registered accounts, though, if you've got $100,000, you can throw that in there, no problem. There is no issue. There are other options for non-registered accounts, such as margin accounts, option accounts, futures, foreign exchange, penny stocks. These do offer a high level of risk. So I would not suggest this for those that are just starting out to get into margin, options, futures, forex, until you're very versed into what these instruments can do, because you can actually lose a lot of money investing in them. So what comes up next? You've opened an account, you've decided where you want to put the funds, you're ready to go. You've reviewed your choices, and you've decided what's going to work best for you. You've talked to your financial advisor if need be, and for those that are brand new and starting out, that usually is a good idea to talk with someone who's experienced and get some suggestions. So now you have to what we call work your buy and sell strategy. You have to work out something that you'll stick to that will determine your success. But before doing that, I would first suggest for those that are brand new to trading to start out by making some paper trades. Now, with paper trades, you can wait a couple of weeks, you can wait a month, and then you can see, how did it do? Did it go up? Did it go down? Did it go sideways? Once you take a look at that, you can see if you're ready for prime time. Try it a few times. Try it for a few different types of industries, a few different types of trades. With paper trading, there really is no pressure. There is no fear. And as we will see later on, fear can make you do things that you don't want to do when it comes to stocks. So, paper trading will help you alleviate some of that. We will now go on to the next slide. So, tonight we're talking about stock market trading and investing and some of the insider's secrets. But before we get to that, we're just reviewing and running through some of the important things that you need to think about. For those that are just joining, we thank you for joining in. Again, we're on the Gbkm network with the Smart Investing with Alton Brooks show. Yours truly tonight, the Wolf of Wall Street and Bay Street, breaking down for you some tips that can help you to decipher this big bad world of the stock market. Let's look at the learning curve. We have to first understand that Rome was not built in a day. We have to take our time to learn. Over the last little while, many months, a lot of people have approached me on investing in the market. And to a man and a woman, everyone wants to get to where they need to in like a day or two, or a week or two, or a month or two. And the stock market doesn't work that way. If you're a novice at trading, a novice at investing, it will take time for you to learn some of the good strategies. And you have to give yourself time for that. You also got to remember that time is money. And in order to make money in the stock market, you have to give it time. Stocks do need time to actually grow. And if you buy something today, it doesn't mean it's going to double or triple tomorrow or the next week. And yes, some people will get lucky. They'll buy something today, and in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, they get a nice return. They call up all their friends and they talk about the great trade that they made. But that's luck, and it doesn't happen every day. You don't want to depend on luck. You want to depend on your ability to understand what you're doing. So, patience is the key. So, we're going to make a game plan. You've now opened your account. You're wondering what to buy. You've given yourself some strategies. You're making a game plan. What are you going to do? Many people are going to start coming to you saying, hey, I hear that you're trading. You need to buy XYZ. You need to get some Bitcoin. You need to get some electric, clean fuel energy. You need to get all these latest buzzwords. And they'll tell you and rhyme off all the best stocks to buy. So what I'd suggest when this happens is to hear what people are saying, but you don't exactly have to listen. I get tips every day on what to buy or sell. And I do listen. I do hear them. But then I filter what I need to filter, and I decide what's important and what isn't. Because at the end of the day, I stick to my strategy. And if my strategy deviates from what someone else is saying to me, then I make sure that I stick to what I know works. So when you develop a strategy, whatever that may be, whether it's a dividend strategy, whether it's a strategy to buy growth stocks, whether it's a strategy to get into genomics or some sort of fancy biotech or technology, make your strategy and stick to it. Another important attribute when getting into the stock market is you have to set rules. Now, how many of you out there really like rules? Nobody likes rules, right? Because rules are meant to be broken. But if you want to be successful trading stocks, you have to set rules, especially buy and sell rules. Again, you'll get all the hot tips. You'll get all the rumors for success. But when you make a trade, you are now on the hot seat. So you have to know what you're doing. So by setting rules, that will help you to determine whether you stay on course. For instance, I'll tell you one of my rules. Many times we'll see what's come out as called IPOs, initial public offerings. They're very fancy. They're filled with fanfare. You might have an Airbnb is going to the New York Stock Exchange, or the next greatest stock is coming out. And you want to be a part of it. You want to jump in, and you want to get some of those shares so that you can flip them, you can make some instant money. But one of my rules is that I don't buy IPOs. And one of the reasons for that is every stock I own needs to have history, needs to prove to me what they will do over time. Whether that's 3 months, whether that's 6 months, they have to show me that they're worth me buying them. So for that reason, one of my rules is that I do not buy IPOs. Now, you may make a rule that you want to specialize in IPOs, or that you want to make that a part of your portfolio. You're more than welcome to do that. But again, as long as you make your strategy and you stick to it and it works for you, that's the important thing. Another thing to remember are loss limits. Now, loss limits come into play when you buy something and it starts to go down. What's the first thing that you think about when you buy a stock today for $10 and you look at it tomorrow and it's $7? What's the first thing that you think about? Well, you get very hopeful for some reason. You start hoping that it goes back up. Now it drops to $5. You're keeping hope alive. Man, I hope this gets back to $10. This thing is dropping. But a lot of times we're inverting what we should really be doing. When your stock drops, and if it drops below the limit that you set for it, you're not supposed to hope that it gets back to where it was. The correct thing to do is to sell the stock. Limit your loss. Never fall in love with a stock and walk it all the way down in hope that it will get back to where it needs to get back to. Let's look at it the other way. You buy a stock for $10 and tomorrow it goes to $12. What's the first thing that happens now? My God. You start having fear. What am I going to do? This stock is up 20%. I've got to sell it. Now look how that is a little different from when you were losing money. You were hoping for it to go higher. Now you've bought a stock. It's gone up a little bit. And now the first thing you want to think about is selling it. The fear that comes in of losing the little profit that you've made. So this is how we invert things as traders. Because when a stock starts going up, what you're supposed to do is hold on to it and have it continue going higher. Not fearing that it's actually going up. Just like when a stock is going down, you're supposed to sell it if it hits your sell point and not hope for it to go back up. So these are the two important things for us to remember. Never fall in love with a stock going down. Set your loss limits, and when you hit that, you take the emotion out of the equation. And what do? You sell your stock. If you buy a stock that's going up, what do? You hold on to it, let it continue to go up. Risk, reward. We always hear these two buzzwords. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. The lower the risk, the lower the reward. I like to turn that into something else. I like to call it knowledge reward. Because the higher your knowledge is the higher your reward will be. The lower your knowledge, the lower your reward will be. So let's take risk out of the equation and turn it into knowledge, because knowledge is power. So, the more knowledge, the higher your reward. So make it your priority to learn as much as you can learn about the strategies that you will use to invest, to lower your risk, and at the same time keep the same level of reward that you're working with. And that's what I try to do when I trade in the market. I use my knowledge to lower my risk, but at the same time, keep my reward level high. And you can do that as well by implementing another word we call diversification. What diversification does, it allows you to play in various sectors so that if one sector suffers a little bit, it does not overall impact negatively on your entire portfolio. Keep that in mind when investing, not to put all your eggs in one basket. Another simple thing to do when investing in a market, and we hardly ever think about this and how simple it is, just buy the market leading industries, or those industries of today and those that will be leading tomorrow. For instance, during this pandemic that we've suffered through, we've all had to learn to live online. We've all had to use all these different technology products to make things happen. How many of us have actually taken the time to buy some of the stocks of some of these companies who have actually made billions of dollars over the last year just because of their ability to impact the kind of market that we're in? For instance, let's take Zoom. They're a popular online conferencing situation for calls, video chats, all that. They have done very well over the last year. Now, if we were thinking logically, we would say, well, with millions of more people using this platform, it's highly likely that they're going to make a lot of money. So again, that would be a very easy industry to have targeted. We all have smartphones. We all, whether it's an Android or an iPhone, carry around this computer in our pockets. Now, how much more would we have in the other pocket if we were buying the stock of one of these cell phone companies, such as an Apple or a Samsung, or even the suppliers who supply them? So again, even if you don't know much about stocks, by just starting out with the leaders you know of today, those are your initial investments. Every time you do a search on the internet, what's the company that you use for that? That would probably be a Google search. Google makes billions of dollars. Why would we not invest in such a company? Especially when they're so integrated into the internet. Again, it's some things that we just don't think about, but it's right there in front of our eyes. So find other market-leading industries and turn that into success. So let's just review. The first things that you're going to do, you're going to stick to the rules. You're going to make rules, you're going to stick to them. The change is a challenge. We know that we like to break rules. But you just got to remember that it takes time for success. But if you learn to stick to your rules, you'll be halfway there in making these investments pay off. Now remember as well, when you buy some of these market leaders, you're going to say, but the stock is so expensive. The price is so high. Well, you got to remember, sometimes you get what you pay for. And leaders are not cheap. But even if you were to buy 2 or 3 shares of a $400 per share company, that goes up 30 to 40% per year. That investment is still going to grow quite well. So, just keep in mind, when you're new, when you're starting out, start with what you can see around you that's doing well, and do your homework. So, we will be right back after these messages, but thank you for listening in to the Smart Investing with Alton Brooks. We'll be right back.
You can officially download our free Gbkm app from the App Store and the Google Play Store, okay? Now, what is the best thing about this app? Well, it is that you have all of the features from the website that is portable, in your hand, ready to use and ready to go. Now, I'm just gonna guide you through what we have available on our app right now. So here, this is the page where you can watch our live TV, our Gbkm TV. You can watch live, enjoy the shows live. Now, you go to our tabs, you can check out any shows you missed in the past shows tab, and that takes you to the past shows that have happened in the last week. And if you just scroll down, you can see those past shows in order, chronological order with their dates next to them as well. So if you've missed a show, no worries, just go to the past show tab and you can catch up on your favorite Gbkm entertainment. Going back to our menus tab again, you can check out our upcoming shows so you do not miss any past shows. Got our breaking news section, which is our newest section as well, to learn of any breaking news within the diaspora, across the globe, all of that good stuff, so you can stay engaged and up to date on what's going on with our breaking news tab on.
Hello and good evening and welcome back to the Smart Investing with Alton Brooks show on the Gbkm network. You know, I've been hearing from a lot of people all around the world, actually. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to those that are watching around the world. I hear some folks are watching from Atlanta. I know got some folks in Mexico watching. I've got the Caribbean, of course, Jamaica. I've got St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I got Guyana watching. Ghana's watching, Nigeria. Also some folks staying up late in the UK watching. And as well, I can't forget my folks down in Florida and New York. And as well as the local GTA, the T-Dot, thank you for tuning in. Again, you've got the Wolf of Wall Street and Bay Street, AKA, my name's Alton Brooks. And I've been telling you tonight and sharing a few things with you to help break down this enormous thing called the stock market. And to show you that it's not as big and as bad as you might think it is, because by having just a little bit of knowledge, it can help shape some of your concerns and get rid of some of the fallacies that you may have, rightly or wrongly, about the market and what you should be doing. Now, we've only got a couple more minutes, so I'll share a couple more points with you. But we will continue next week with some of these topics just to slowly bring you up to speed on some of the things that you should look out for. So when it comes to investing, there are 2 types of investors. There are those who use the theories called fundamental analysis, and there are those who use what's called technical analysis. Now, for next week, we will get a lot more into the technical analysis point of view. And they're both quite interesting, and many experienced traders will use both concepts when deciding on whether to invest into a stock or not. When you think about fundamental analysis, you might think of the Mutual of Omaha himself, Mr. Warren Buffett. That's his thing, fundamental analysis. Others use the technical analysis to basically just make decisions on what they see happening in the market. So fundamental analysis looks at the internal strength of a company, while the technical analysis piece looks at the actual performance of the company. For fundamental analysis, you're going to dig deep into the books of the company. You're looking for things like consistent earnings. You're looking for increasing sales. You're looking for margin increases. And what's margin increase? Well, that's the amount of profit you have left after paying for some of your bills. Because if you have nothing left after just a few bills, imagine what will be left after more bills are paid. So you want to make sure that if you make something such as a widget, that you make it at a very high profit with lots of margin left to pay for other expenses. And when this margin line grows, it means that more profit will be available on the bottom line. You may be looking at growth stocks. You look at their annual earnings. You're looking for long-term earnings, stocks that make money quarter after quarter, year after year. You're looking for companies that are number one in their field, like, for instance, packaging and shipping. You may think of UPS, but the company I'm thinking about is Amazon. They deliver half the packages to your door now, not the mailman and not UPS. They have their own drivers. They come right to your door. You order right on the website. They're number one in their field. Why would you not own that stock? It makes money. Look for who does the best of what they do and take advantage of stock when it's on sale. Look for stocks with high ROE, return on investments. You're looking for ones that do 20% or more. When that happens, you know that this company is managing their cash really well. So when their return on equity, their ROE, is 20% or higher, by digging through the books, you find out this information. If you find that that is the case, it may be a company that you got to look at purchasing. You want companies that have superior products, that offer superior services, which makes them must-buys, must-have, just like that iPhone that everybody must have. You want companies like that in your portfolio. Another reason you want them in your portfolio is because the people who move the markets have them in their portfolio. Whether I have 5 shares of Apple, or someone else has 10 shares, or someone else has 20 shares, that is really meaningless unless the companies who own millions of shares want to own them. Because that's the only time that the stocks will go up. If the folks on Wall Street and Bay Street have no interest in a stock, it's not going to go anywhere, regardless of how much you love it. So make sure that stocks that you buy are also stocks that those on Wall Street and Bay Street are buying as well. Now, we're going to call it an evening tonight. I hope you've learned a few things from tonight's show. I will continue with this teaching topic next Monday, so you'll get me 2 weeks in a row, breaking things down slowly for you. And for those who are more experienced traders, we will catch up to you. But we have to make sure that those who are looking to get in the market understand these simple concepts and set them on a great footing for when they start doing things on their own. Make sure you read a lot. There's a lot of information out there. Educate. Knowledge equals reward. The higher the knowledge, the higher your reward. So thank you for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure. Happy Black History Month once again. And I'll see you next Monday night. Take care.
You can officially download our free Gbkm app from the App Store and the Google Play Store, okay? Now, what is the best thing about this app? Well, it is that you have all of the features from the website that is portable, in your hand, ready to use and ready to go. Now, I'm just gonna guide you through what we have available on our app right now. So here, this is the page where you can watch our live TV, our Gbkm TV. You can watch live, enjoy the shows live. Now, if you go to our tabs, you can check out any shows you missed in the past shows tab, and that takes you to the past shows that have happened in the last week. And if you just scroll down, you can see those past shows in order, chronological order, with their dates next to them as well. So if you've missed a show, no worries, just go to the past show tab and you can catch up on your favorite Gbkm entertainment. Going back to our menus tab again, you can check out our upcoming shows so you do not miss any past shows. You can check out our breaking news section, which is our newest section as well, to learn of any breaking news within the diaspora, across the globe, all of that good stuff, so you can stay engaged and up to date on what's going on with our breaking news tab on the Gbkm app, and also available on the website. And as you can see, there are other tabs there. You can listen to our live radio, our live TV. You can learn more about our on-air personalities by going to our OAP.
We've got MP Sahota, Minister of Parliament from Brampton North.
And I've downloaded my app as well. Encourage all your viewers to do the same, because nothing is easier than having, your favorite program.
Make sure to download our app on iOS or Android, Gbkm on either platform.
Good afternoon, live from Toronto on the Gbkm network, and welcome to the Chat Up Show, the show where we chat about any and everything to do with popular culture. I'm your host, Elizabeth Aloidi, and I hope that you are ready to chat it up with me today. Now, as always, you can keep up with the Gbkm network in various ways. You can listen and watch live at www.gbkm.fm or www.gbkm.tv. You can also watch live on Facebook at Gbkm Television and YouTube at Gbkm TV. You can follow us on Instagram at Gbkm FM and Twitter at Gbkm_FM. Now, we'd also like to thank our official Chat Up Show sponsors, Coded Signature, that's coded with a K. They are a Nigerian-owned local brand that offers various Afrocentric apparel and accessories. They're all about infusing African culture and history into apparel and accessories. Now, this is especially important as the news in Nigeria is taking over the world, and we are all about supporting local brands, especially during this pandemic here today. And there is a gift in it for you if you purchase from the website, which is codedsignature.com. Again, that's codedsignature with a K.com. You can use the code GBKM to get a 10% discount at checkout. Again, you can use the code GBKM to get a 10% discount at checkout. They do ship worldwide, so do not worry about location. And you can get yourself one of these snazzy Queen of of Benin hats that are great, and also come satin lined, so it protects your curls, everything that's good and dandy. So remember, you can use the code GBKM for 10% at checkout on the website codedsignature.com, that's coded with a K, or check them out on Instagram and Facebook at Coded Signature. Now, this week, truthfully, has been a mixture of emotions for a lot of us Nigerians in the diaspora, as we have watched the events of the last 2 weeks of protesting #EndSARS have continued across the nation, and have also sprung up in various places around the world, the UK, states in the United States, and even here in Canada. We're also here in Toronto stuck navigating what is seemingly our second wave of COVID, but still folks are managing to make it out in the streets to protest. Now, it's hard for some of us to witness what's happening back home from a distance, as we're unsure on how to help, how to intervene, and especially from last night's events that have honestly shook the world, I would say. Witnessing the scenes from the Lekki toll gate last night was, for me, quite scary, to say the least. Seeing everything unfold was a lot for us to take And even the events of the last few weeks may have been confused, have been forgotten. So today we're going to dive into what has really been going on the last 2 weeks in Nigeria, especially for our viewers and listeners who may be unsure as to what the #EndSARS movement has been about. Don't worry, we're going to get into that today. And later we're going to talk about what happened last night at Lekki Tollgate Plaza and discuss what and how the government has responded to the incidents that have occurred. But first, last week we had a protest here in Toronto, and we had a lot of young Nigerian youths come out, young Canadian Nigerian youths, come out to essentially talk about why it was important for them to speak up and speak out against the injustice that they face when they're going back home, whenever they go back home, and for those who live back home that they deeply care about. So instead of telling you about what they've said, I'm going to show you instead, as we were able to go out and cover that protest here on the Gbkm network. So check it out.
I think it's amazing. I think it's very rare for a lot of Nigerians to come together, you know. Usually we're separated by tribe, you know, Igbo, Hausa, you know, Yoruba, but here you're seeing everybody coming together, you know, for a very, very good cause. Right now it's more than just an exercise, it's a revolution. You know, for the first time, you know, we're starting to see things actually happen. People actually not being, you know, paid off, because Nigerians, they get paid off for everything, and that's why things have gone to where it was. But now people are actually saying, you know what, enough is enough, you know. 60% of the Nigerian population is young, under 40, right? So that's a big impression. And
so why is it important for you to be out here today?
It's important for me to come out here and make my voice be heard, because actually this is something that hits so close to home. I lost my brother to SARS in 2016. They murdered my brother and tried to cover it up, and we're still going back and forth with Nigerian police in Imo State, Owerri, Imo State. So, you know, so it's something that's very close to home. And I want to come out here and make sure that they're held accountable for their crimes, and hoping that someday they'll open up a panel for victims who have, you know, who have lost their family members to come out.
I got a family, I got a daughter, a Canadian daughter, but she's Nigerian anytime. She's Nigerian anytime. She was born here, but she's Nigerian anytime. I'm scared to go home. Like, it's so worrisome. It's so worrisome. Like, the issues that affect Nigeria are enormous. Police brutality, extrajudicial killings. It's so scary. Like, imagine taking my family back home, and I got a budget for extra security for my family. I gotta get a mopo. It doesn't make no sense.
First things first, I think it's really important that we understand the revolution, what we're creating. It's not just a random movement. It's for your future, my unborn child's future. We have to create a new Nigeria. We have to create a safe space, a safe heaven. We don't have to go to England or come down to Toronto. We don't care about that. It's simple. It's government, democracy. Nigeria is a democratic state, a country. So if it's democracy, it's a government for the people, by the people, of the people. Buhari, it's been days since it started, isn't it? If you cannot address the youth, the generation of tomorrow, step down. I don't care about that. So 2023, I urge all of you to get your PVCs and vote. Vote him out.
So what does it mean for you, Femi, as a Nigerian?
Now, those were the sentiments of some of the protesters that attended the Toronto protest that started off in Dundas Square and made its way to the Nathan Phillips Square in front of City Hall. Now, one thing about being present at this protest that I really picked up was that this moment, this movement, if you will call it that, is more than just the name and SARS. It's to address deeper issues that a lot of Nigerian youth feel have been neglected for so long, especially during their lifetime. Feeling that this is the time that they can rise up and speak out against injustices that they have faced and dealt with for so long that they are tired of. But being at that protest, I think one of the most poignant moments for me that really hit home was when everyone banded together, knelt down, fists raised in the air as the national anthem played on trumpets. Just listen to this.
Right now, folks are taking a kneel in solidarity to show their solidarity with fists raised in the air as we hear trumpet players play the national anthem of Nigeria. You can see this great turnout here today. Folks who are calling for change and reform, begging the government to listen to the youth especially.
Wow. And it's true, they were all there together, calling for one thing, for the government to hear the calls of the youth, to disband, dismantle, get rid of what is known to be SARS, or the Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Nigeria. Now, I'm sure that, as I said, there's some of our viewers and listeners who may be unsure of what SARS is, and I want us to take the moment right now to just understand what this squad is, what it means, and why people have decided to essentially risk their lives now, it seems, to go out and protest all over the country in Nigeria and even in the diaspora. Why it was something so important that people continue to march in the streets despite being told to stay home for safety reasons, essentially. Now, just taking a step back into the history a little bit, let's rewind. In 1992, before I was even born, military officer Colonel Rindom was killed by 2 police officers at a checkpoint in Lagos. Now, when the army found out, they went out into the streets in search of these officers. So police essentially went into hiding from army officials. Within 2 weeks of the police retreating, armed robbers essentially went on a rampage all over the city, wreaking havoc, causing harm to citizens. And during the time it took for the army and the police to sit down, parley, discuss how they can go back to doing their jobs without fear of the army retaliating against those officers, armed robbers had essentially taken over the country and it was hard to gain control. So, taking, I guess, a page out of the anti-robbery team in Benin, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad was founded by former police commissioner Simeon Danladi Medenda. Now, Medenda described how he formed the squad in an interview with local Nigerian newspaper Vanguard in 2017, saying, "They asked me to set up an anti-robbery team strong enough to make sure robbers were dislodged from Lagos. To start with 15 fully armed men and 2 plain-colored Peugeot station wagons were given to me. It must be noted that at this time, there were already 3 anti-robbery squads operating in Lagos. So at the time that SARS was even founded, there were already 3 anti-robbery squads working in Lagos at the time. So when SARS was founded, they operated in plain clothes, they used plain vehicles, they couldn't even carry walkie-talkies or guns, according to former police commissioner Medenda. And he said that, in 2017, he said that until the year 2002, when I was transferred to head the state CID in Umuahia, SARS never existed outside Lagos. Today, SARS exists in every state command. How it got to where it is today, I have no knowledge. One thing that is clear to me is that they have deviated from the original concept. I mean, even the person that was put in charge of founding this squad, this operative, found that in 2017, they weren't the squad that he put in place. They weren't the squad he had been put in charge of anymore. That things had changed so much that they had deviated from their original purpose. Now, SARS officers have now become notorious for essentially harassing citizens. Folks recall being stopped because of their hair, having dreadlocks, having tattoos, wearing flashy clothes, if you will, driving nicer cars, owning an iPhone, just to name a few of the reasons they've been harassed and essentially extorted by these SARS officers. But this isn't the beginning of when SARS sort of started to lose hope in the country, if you will. It is reported that in October 2005, a SARS operative killed a bus driver in Delta State, Nigeria, for failing to allegedly pay a bribe. The operative was removed from their position at SARS and arrested on charges of murder. Then in 2009, when the squad grew in number and strength, And due to the surge of internet fraudsters and cultism in universities, SARS operatives infiltrated Nigerian universities and made several successful arrests, but in the process harassed innocent people as well. Now, according to a publication by the Nigerian news website Pulse Nigeria, in the report called What SARS Became was a national scourge that witch hunt machinery against Nigerian youth with dreadlocks, piercings, cars, expensive phones, and risque means of expression. This is how they described SARS in a news article. In 2010, Amnesty International actually said it would be suing the Nigerian police over human rights abuses, stating that SARS operatives in Port Harcourt had arrested 3 bicyclists, detained them for over 1 week while they, quote, were beaten every night with the butt of a gun and an iron belt, essentially torturing them. Also, in 2010, a federal high court in Enugu State ordered the then Inspector General of Police to produce a special anti-robbery squad officer who had shot dead a 15-year-old boy at his high school. According to the SARS officers, the teen was mistaken for a kidnapper. In July 2010, Sahara reporters published an extensive editorial report detailing how SARS and other police units had made a profit of 9.35 billion naira, which came up to about $60 million, from roadblocks and extortion within 18 months. Now, I'm just going to call in our producer real quick just to comment on what we've heard so far about SARS history, if you will. What do you think about the fact that police officers essentially made a profit of 9.35 billion naira in 18 months?
You know, first of all, let me quickly start by saying a very big thank you to you for all the great job you're doing. Thank you very much. I happens to be with you on Dundas Square and the City Hall while the protest was taking place the other time. And I first of all want to say that thank you to everybody that came out to participate in that. But you know, to come to your point, Elizabeth, everything has turned into a business in my country. Everything from Boko Haram to SARS, everything is a business. And this is why it becomes what they call caca worm, political caca worm, that is eating into the fabric of the democratic system of Nigeria, where now it's hard to take out of your skin, because wherever you turn is planted. And each time you want to take it, the resistance is enormous because everything is intertwined democratically and how will I call it, corruption wise. Everything is intertwined. So I'm not surprised, and I'm even thinking that number
is low.
It's low.
It's not the full report of.
That's my opinion. I mean, I don't have bases and numbers to back that up. But given the fact that I was going through an article the other day, and I know that one of the top ranking of the police was tied to all the roadblocks. He's a top ranking police officer, but yet all the the money they get from the roadblock was tied to him, traced to him on the top. And that's what some people will call Oga at the top.
I mean, I was gobsmacked, honestly, reading these reports. And it's not the only time that reports have been filed against essentially the police in Nigeria. In June 2011, it was actually found that Nigeria Police Force discovered an attempt by SARS operatives to bomb the force's headquarters. So wouldn't that be considered an act of terrorism, essentially? Following several reports of human rights violations submitted by members of the public to the Office of the Inspector General of Police in August 2015, the then Inspector General of Police, Solomon Araze, announced he would split the SARS unit into 2 units, an operational unit and an investigations unit, in order to curtail cases of human rights violations. It seems that even just the 9 billion was just, okay, well, sorry, that's gone.
But let me even digress a little bit, since you brought me in a little bit. This Human Rights Commission that has not been inaugurated for many years, that has been that is supposed to be inaugurated in Nigeria. It has not been inaugurated for many years, and there have been allocations, there have been money set aside for that body. Who is taking that money? Now there is a percentage that is that's supposed to be going to the police trust fund, for all these years? Who has been taking that money? And how come is it just now that they are now inaugurating that Human Rights Commissions that was supposed to be inaugurated a long time ago? So we have so many questions as youth that we are asking, and it's not just NSAS. It has metamorphosed into a thing that we have to put a total break on everything and reset it, period.
And that's what I was saying, is that it's bigger than just NSARS, that people want the government to be held accountable for all of these questions that a lot of citizens have about why is it that people are able to kill us in the streets in broad daylight and they aren't met with swift justice, as we've been seeing in recent days, if you will, recent weeks, recent years. But just going through the history of what this squad is, what I'm going to call them, this squad has been doing in all the years, and it seems that there hasn't really been much accountability than government saying we'll disband them and then no follow through. There's no real follow through with a lot of these things.
You know, I'm going to quickly say this again. It's become the order of the day. Like somebody once said, when you are close to the government and you are eating from the fraudulent deeds and acts, it becomes connection. It becomes a business. When you are not in the government, then you become what the SWAT or the SARS was going after, fraud, fraudster and so on. So the problem is that our social value has to change. The way we see things has to change. The way we embrace things has to change. The way we enact respect, attribute respect to individuals or group of organizations has to change. This will go a long way in the electoral process.
Yeah. We would hope so, that there would be some sort of change, because the way things are going, clearly it's not working for anybody. And even when being called to be held accountable for their actions, a lot of the time the police just say that it's fake or fake news, which is the go-to nowadays when discussing anything that may be a little, we don't want to hear it, we don't want to believe it may be true, we just go to the fake news route.
Part of the problem, in my opinion, is, and again, thank you for having me, and I'm not trying to hijack your show. Part of the problem is we have to decentralize the police force. We have to decentralize the police force.
They've said it so many times.
The center has so much power when it comes to policing. We have to, number one, decentralize it. That way, dissemination of information can be also locally and grassroots oriented. That's number one. Yes, there are challenges that we may face because some regions, you can say that they may not be able to pay their police force or fund their police force. That's another discourse that we may have another day. However, the center is too strong. Hence, they are able to manipulate those media and those news and say it's fake news and debunk it in a way that you will be doubting yourself that, well, I was there, I saw it. Maybe it's a fake. That's how powerful they are.
I mean, speaking of decentralizing the police, that's something that they've been discussing for at least the last 3 years. Is something that they said that they would do. And we still haven't seen it happen because we're back here again. I mean, there were protests that were held in 2017, started the online protest of End SARS. Folks did start physical protests in the streets in cities like Abuja, Lagos, Ibadan, Osun, Benin as well, in Warri, Ilorin, Ogbomoso, Owerri, Jos, Kaduna, just to name a few cities that they held protests in 2017. And the response by the government was, we will disband, decentralize, and keep it pushing. But there hasn't been any follow through. And the fact that we're back here again, protesting the same thing with literally the same hashtag, with similarly the same list of demands to the government, and still 3 years later, nothing has really been resolved. It's almost understandable why people have lost faith in the government and why there's so much that's going around now that's confusing.
The biggest thing is the level of the coldness of the government, the insensitivity of the government when it comes to the general populace, when it comes to, for example, look at the videos flying around in the social media for days now, where you see armed police forces going and shooting directly at innocent people, innocent citizens that are doing a protest. They are not armed. And yet you will see some governmental apparatus come out and say that, oh, it's not true, there's no casualty, nothing has happened. So you wonder, one begin to wonder which planet they live. Where do they live? Do they have a different television? Do they have a different Facebook? Do they have a different social media? The gap, the insensitivity, the impunity is head of and unprecedented.
I think you hit it on the head with the insensitivity. It's almost we're forgetting that people have lost their lives, and it's almost a form of gaslighting, essentially, to say in the face of folks who have lost loved ones and be like, that's not true, no one died, when they are mourning the loss of a loved one. I mean, granted, some people that may not be able to prove, but there have been various videos over the years that have surfaced of actual SARS officers and police officers attacking, harassing, and killing, shooting innocent, unarmed citizens, but not just protesters.
Even from the article you read just now, the first guy that on record, let me use the word foster or cater for the organization SARS. You can tell from the article you read that he even admits. He admits on record that the SARS has lost control and has metamorphosed. This is me using my own word now into a different thing. So there's no ground for argument here. No ground for argument at all. All the government should have done is upheld to the voice of the people and then work with the people instead of going with AK-44 rifles and machine guns.
Again,
like automatic weapon. You know what it is for automatic weapon? Like, you don't shoot at the people that put you in power like that. This is unprecedented. This is the first time in Nigeria history, folks, that a democratic elected government would shoot directly in a massive manner on its populace.
That's why a lot of people are saying that the military regime hasn't fully left us yet.
Well, like Fela would say many years ago, this is not democracy, this is demonstration of grace.
Now, this is the same month Nigeria is celebrating 60 years of independence. And to see where we are now 60 years later, to see that the youth are rising up saying enough is enough. After 60 years of independence, this is what we can show for it. That they're fed up. They're exhausted of continuously trying to almost, it seems, prove their right to live in a sane climate, if you will, in a society that values and isn't insensitive to their plights and the suffering that a lot of people go through.
You see, this is not to take away from what you're saying, right? Like the video we're seeing right now, you see it's a little bit dark, and then you can see the gunfire, and you can see the proximity from the people that are there. Like, where are we? Where are we, guys? Where are we? And then you see some government officials saying that, oh, this is no happening. I mean, Elizabeth, I don't know how to respond to this. I don't know if I should cry. I don't know if I should just break down. But one thing I know that we all have to be responsible in disseminating these information to our public, to the international community, and we need international community to do more. This is caught on tape, Elizabeth.
This right now, what we are watching is anonymous witnesses video cell phone footage of the events last night at the Lekki Toll Plaza, where it is alleged that army soldiers essentially had gone into the plaza and started shooting unarmed peaceful protesters who were performing a sit-in protest, which they literally sat on the ground as they were shot by soldiers. Now, today, the Army's official Twitter page is alleging that this is fake news, that they are not soldiers, and soldiers did not go in to this peaceful protest and start shooting. The governor of Lagos State...
But hold on. In Nigeria, where I was born, it's a crime. I will use the word crime. Have you seen how they molest people if you wear military uniform?
Yeah, I've been told not to wear my camouflage pants every time I go. Yes.
You are telling me that those camouflage we see was Agbada or was Accra? I don't know if maybe I'm blind. I don't know if it's me that is blind. These uniform folks that are looking at doesn't look like Kente.
I mean, it's clear to see that they are army uniforms. But I mean, on the other side of that argument, some could argue that there was a time that a truckload of army uniforms was seized that was, they say, allegedly being planned to be shared to citizens.
But that's true. You can say that. But it's the duty, it still go back to what we are asking government to do. It's the duty for police to detect, stop, and prevent crime. Detect, stop, and prevent, crime. So if a truckload of army uniform was is being flown in at some point many years ago, many months ago, maybe that could be the same scenario, whatever. It's not my job. It's not my job, Elizabeth. It's their job to do their job, to make sure it doesn't. So whichever excuse they may bring, it's not my job. My job is to pay them. And overall, let me tell you something. Let's even digress a little bit. We can no longer afford our politicians. They are too expensive for us to pay. How can a Senate be getting 30 million naira a month? Whereas the minimum wage is 30,000 naira a month, and a bag of rice is 30 something thousand naira. Come on, do the maths. It's visible to the blind and audible to the deaf.
I mean, not even speaking of bag of rice, we saw that it was recently reported the average senator, how much they make. And they had like 1.2 million naira just for newspapers.
Like, what are you reading? Are you the owner of Wikipedia? Like, what are you reading?
It seems now that through the transparency of technology, it's hard for them to hide and deny. I mean, I was saying that the Lagos State governor came out and said during his press conference this morning that there are no people who were dead, though he went to go visit those who were injured in hospitals during his photo op, I think late last night. He came out today in a press conference and said that no people are dead, but all day today we've been seeing tributes pour in on social media showing people who had lost loved ones during the time.
There are videos of, it's like a movie.
Even before we get to those videos.
Yes, there are videos of people videoing from the balcony where you see like cold-blooded, somebody being murdered, shot, and how dare you come out and say, you know what, Elizabeth, I'm gonna let you do your show. I'm just peace, and I don't know what to say at this point. I don't know what to say. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for joining us, Kenny, and sharing your input on these events. And it's hard to sit here honestly today and not be as angry and as passionate as a lot of other people that we've been seeing come together and feeling what feeling. It's hard as a Nigerian sitting in front of you right now. I mean, this image of us kneeling together, standing in solidarity, after we've been called lazy youth by our own president, by the way, let's not forget this, that we've come together to stand up and speak out against this injustice, and yet we are still met with the same callousness, if you will, the same insensitivity as we were before, as if we aren't doing something good for our future, that we're being lazy, unemployed, uneducated, again, just standing in the streets and holding up traffic. Yes, that is what has occurred in light of these protests, but at some point, there's gonna have to be some drastic change for people to wake up and realize that what is happening right now is a human rights crisis. It's a complete violation of human rights. Regardless of how we feel about whichever political party, it doesn't matter. At this point in time, what matters is people are losing their lives, fighting for their lives. On that note, we're just gonna take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick commercial. When we're back, we're gonna go through a timeline of these protests. What really sparked this year's round of protests for #EndSARS. Stay tuned.
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alone. Just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorized to keep you from evil theology. For you, the darker hue, you denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Hello and welcome back to the Chat Up Show. I'm your host, Elizabeth Lloydie, and today we are discussing the events of the protests that are happening across the country in Nigeria and all over the world now. It's picking up traction in the international community, especially since the events of last night's at Lekki Tollgate Plaza, where a number of unarmed citizens were shot by alleged soldiers as they were performing a peaceful sit-in. Now, just want to tail back a little bit. There have been a lot of events that have occurred in the last 2 weeks, and they have happened quickly, and a lot of people are probably unsure how we got to this point, how we got to the point where we're seeing videos of people being shot by people in army uniform. We are seeing videos of CCTV cameras being cut at the Tollgate Plaza earlier in the day before the shootings happened. So how did we get here? Now, on October 3rd, a video started trending of a SARS officer allegedly shooting a young Nigerian in front of a hotel in Delta State and confiscating his Lexus SUV. Of course, this caused a resurgence on social media of the hashtag #EndSARS, and it caused a lot more people to voice their experiences with the SARS misbehavior, if you will. Then, on October 5th, there was another report of a SARS officer killing a 20-year-old upcoming musician known as Sleek and arresting his friend in the process. By October 8th, nationwide protests on #EndSARS had started. After weeks of outcry and anger with videos and pictures showing police brutality, harassment, and extortion in Nigeria over the years, the protests were led predominantly by young Nigerians who were seeking change, seeking reform, and seeking follow-through for a lot of the promises the governments had given in regards to SARS. Now, by October 9th, the deputy governor had addressed the protesters who had slept in front of the gate of the government house from the night before. And the Lagos State House of Assembly had held an emergency parliamentary sitting to deliberate the petition of the #EndSARS protesters. Now, the parliamentarians made a 7-point resolution as follows: that Nigeria's Senate and House of Assembly should probe SARS, the police commissioner should protect protesters, molestation of youth should be stopped, institution of public inquiry on the extrajudicial killings by Senate President and the House of Representatives Speaker, and proscription of SARS and its replacement by a new unit with a clear code of conduct and sanction of illegalities. So this was a 7-point that they'd come up with. Now, Nigerian force did attempt to disrupt the protests by throwing tear gas and also shooting at unarmed protesters, and this was caught on video in some cities. By October 10th, the #EndSARS protests in Oyo State turned violent as Nigerian police were alleged to have injured 7 protesters and shot dead a young man who was known as Jimo Isiaka during the protest. So we're up until last weekend. Now, in response to the death of the protesters, the Commissioner of Police of Oyo State denied the allegation that the police had killed the protester. So it seems that we're going back into the same routine of dealing with things here. He said that the police used tear gas to prevent protesters from attacking and entering the police station. Now, the governor of Oyo State sent a condolence message on the demise of the protester and promised to investigate the incident. By October 11th, protesters had put up their 5 demands that they wanted met by the federal government of Nigeria. The demands were signed by a Nigerian youth and asked for the immediate release of all arrested during the protests, as well as justice and compensation for all who died through police brutality in Nigeria. They also demanded that an independent body be set up within 10 days to investigate and prosecute all reports of police misconduct. Now, these requests are similar to the requests we also heard from Black Lives Matter protests that happened all over the world all over the world, but mostly in the United States, asking for justice. Now, the protesters in Nigeria also asked for psychological evaluation and retraining of SARS operatives before they were deployed to any other police unit. And lastly, they asked for adequate remuneration for Nigerian police. knowing that majority of the police are underpaid, underfunded. A lot of times they don't even have any benefits or health care available to them. So essentially the youth were asking the government to fix that too. But this is always lost in the translation because, you know, the idea of protesting always takes over, and no one wants to follow in the footsteps of what happened in the United States, seeing buildings burnt down, cars burnt down. No one wants to see that, right? So that is our focus, but we're not listening to what these youth are really demanding. They're demanding, above all else, justice, as clear from their 5 points. Now, by October 12th, River State's governor had banned protests. The Lagos State governor urged protests to believe that SARS had been disbanded, despite seeing videos from across the country of police continuing to harass and shoot. SARS is part of the police, let's not forget that. And then Oyo State banned police from engaging with protesters, so what had happened before would not happen again, essentially police using excessive force to help calm protesters down. By October 14th, the protests were growing all over Nigeria, but also around the world. And by October 16th, hacking group Anonymous hacked the Twitter account of the National Broadcasting Commission and posted a message saying, "We Anonymous will continue supporting Nigerians." We also had a tweet from Twitter founder Jack, who tweeted in support of the End SARS movement. We're seeing more protests happen across the world, in the diaspora, here in Canada, in Toronto, even in Ottawa, in the United States, in the UK as well. We're continuing to see these protests grow. Now, protesters at this point had caused a lot of gridlocks and traffic jams, stopping a lot of people on their daily commutes, causing more frustration and stirs. Now, a lot of people can say, yes, this is frustrating, why can't they go back home? But it's also remembering the 5 points as to why they're out in the streets anyway, protesting during the middle of a pandemic. There were so many more people started joining the protests. We had Nigerian celebrities actually come out in a video to stand up in solidarity with those out protesting, but also calling the government to action, reiterating the 5 points and the demands of the Nigerian youth, urging them to make moves to actually fulfill these demands. These were celebrities like Runtown, like Omotola Jalade, Nollywood Queen, Yvonne Orji, and Jadena all appeared in this video that was actually co-produced by Opel Tometi, who is one of the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement, but is also a proud Nigerian American. Now, I want you guys to check out this video and just hear the words of these celebrities who are coming out to speak out against police brutality in Nigeria right now.
Be treated with clear processes that are open to the public.
Economic justice.
Better pay for those people who are meant to protect us.
Over the last 2 weeks, we have seen young Nigerians rise up with the courage and determination to stand up against injustice, corruption, and abuse of power by the police.
And specifically, the Special Anti-Robbery Unit,
also known as SARS.
Police is your friend.
That's the official motto of the Nigerian police.
But friends don't extort,
rape, steal,
torture, or murder.
We join with all of our brothers and sisters who are rising to declare,
enough is enough.
We demand justice for the lives lost to senseless violence,
and all who have fallen victim to assault, rape, and murder by police.
Despite the amendments to the Nigerian Constitution in 2017, after the first wave of anti-SARS protests, there is still no evidence of justice for the victims.
We are not naive about the complexity of the challenge ahead.
But we Nigerians are worth it.
So we call on our president and all who hold power to hear the resounding call to action
and rise to the occasion.
We need a complete dissolution of SARS in all of its forms and enforcement of the Nigerian Constitution
and the many human rights treaties Nigeria is signatory to.
We need transparency and accountability.
Because corruption is a disease that can only be treated with clear processes that are open to the public.
Economic justice.
Better pay for those people who are meant to protect us.
The alleviation of poverty and communal resources will keep people safe and enable dignity.
This is the start of a beautiful revolution to ensure a better future for all Nigerians.
We stand united in our call for accountability,
respect for human rights, and justice.
We demand justice and we demand it now.
Nigerians are rising. Africans are rising. The diaspora is rising. And so we call on all of our elected leaders to rise and listen to the people.
Our lives matter.
Such a moving video that inspired so much hope for those even in diaspora watching these celebrities come out and speak out. Getting a little bit more international attention now that these are known names who are speaking out against this injustice. The day after this video was circulated on social media, the Lagos state governor enforced the curfew on the state effective 4 p.m. West African time. That was yesterday. Then video started circulating of CCTV cameras being cut around the Lekki toll gate plaza, and the people in the video were quoting that they were there on behalf of the government, that they were working for the government. So protesters gathered to defy the curfew, to sit in and protest, that they can't be stopped because they're calling for justice. And they gathered across the country, but specifically at the Lekki toll plaza. And that's when news broke that the military was deployed. Electricity was cut in the area. It was all dark. As we saw from the previous video, it was hazy and dark. Couldn't really tell out faces, couldn't really see what was going on, but you saw and heard those shots. You saw those uniforms, those distinct uniforms. And then news spread on social media like wildfire, along with the image of a bloodied Nigerian flag. Now, we don't even need to show it. I'm sure you've seen it all across social media at this point. It's an image that honestly burns into your minds and it's hard to forget. But more than that, what caught people's attention, especially, was the silence from a lot of leaders until the governor, Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, came out and did his photo op visiting hospitals with injured citizens from the protest. And then this morning came out in a press conference to say that there were no deaths, no one had lost their life during this time, that it was unfortunate. Then we have the army who was saying that it's fake news that soldiers were there last night and they weren't the ones that were shooting. But we see these videos circulating. We see videos of people on live stream during the protests showing in real time what was going on. We see videos of people from their homes recording on their balconies, showing people dying of gunshot wounds. We see hospitals being overrun. We see tens of victims lined up waiting to be treated. All these videos circulating, and yet the government is saying that it wasn't what happened. At this point, the Nigerian youth rising up against the status quo, if you will, saying enough is enough, has cost so many lives. And it's easy to lose the hope. It's easy to forget why people are protesting again. And I've sat in this chair many times before and I've said, let's not forget why people are out in the streets risking their lives. Because let's not forget, we are also in the middle of a pandemic as well. Let's not forget that there is something deeper going on here, that the world is watching currently. That the ability to brush things under the carpet is no longer, because now technology has allowed for people to show in real time what is happening before their eyes. Almost as proof, if you will. Now, if we leave the show today, the one thing that I want for people to know is to understand what these protests mean for the future of Nigerians, future of my generation, my future children, as it's been said, my children's children as well, just the future of Nigeria in general. That there's so many people on different sides saying that the protesters shouldn't be out there anyway. And then, of course, there are the protesters saying that you should be joining us because this is your fight too. SARS has not been known to discriminate. There have been so many accounts of the harassment that the citizens have been subjected to from this squad for so many years. Reports by Amnesty International of the various violation of human rights. And yet people are still out there losing their lives in the streets protesting for the same Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that we have government officials coming out on public platforms telling us one thing, but video evidence proving otherwise. Let's not forget that we have the Army's official Twitter telling us that it's fake news again, telling us to be aware. But people still were shot. That we can't deny. Maybe there's a little bit of confusion over who did the shooting, who ordered it, what. But the fact is that there are people who have lost their lives, there are people who have been injured while exercising their rights to protest in a democracy, speaking out against the people that they voted into power, saying that you haven't done enough to protect us, you haven't done enough to uplift us, so we're doing it for ourselves. Let's not forget that too. Let's not also forget about the young generation of Nigerians who were called lazy, who are now banding together to stand up with one voice for the same cause. The same cause. This that we're seeing right now started with a group of youth who said enough is enough. We are going out today and we're going to camp outside of the governor's house until we get the answers we wish for. 2 weeks later, more deaths, more confusing answers that haven't really tackled the issue at hand. The same promises that haven't really seen any follow through, haven't been upheld. How many times have we heard about the disbandment of SARS, the decentralization of the police? They're saying enough is enough, that they don't want to continue in their lifetime seeing this happen to the country. Seeing these killings happen and there be no justice for the real victims. At the end of the day, people are essentially just fighting for the right to live in their own country peacefully. A lot of people have joked that it's because we want to look fresh that you want to kill us, but it seems that that's what it is. That they want to be able to live out loud and proudly in their own country without fear that the very people who are supposed to be protecting them from any danger are the ones inflicting it. So for our international community right now, who have been wondering what End SARS means, this is what it is. Those 5 demands that all boil down to holding the right guilty parties accountable for their actions to the full extent of the law, and ensuring nothing like this ever happens again in our history. It's not that people want to be out there. Who genuinely wants to be out there in the middle of a pandemic, knowing that there's a potential that they may be gunned down? This isn't for fun for people. This is real. This is real. And though some people may say that this is a direct attack to the president, it's a direct attack to the government, who else are they going to call on when they're begging for help for change? Who else? Who else will they call on for change? I genuinely ask the rest of you, who else? Those of us who are in the diaspora, who are looking from the outside in, who may not have had to live through it. I know that I have been privileged not having to live through the harassment of SARS officers. I recognize that. But I stand here knowing that there are people that I love who still live in that very country, who are also hoping for the same change. So who else can we ask but our government to make these changes? We're looking towards international communities, international aids to help intervene. I mean, Hillary Clinton came out and tweeted exactly calling President Buhari and the Nigerian army to stop killing its people, stop killing young and SARS protesters, is her quote. There's a lot of Nigerian pride, and when Nigeria turned 60, all of us were out here saying, yes, up Nigeria for turning 60 years of independence for colonizers. And not even 2 days later from that day, not even 2 days later from that day, people were again begging for their lives, begging to stop being harassed, killed, and raped by the people that are supposed to be protecting them. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from this point where some people don't even trust their own government? And though there's been a lot of news coverage of the US elections, and that has taken over a lot of our news cycle and all of our attention, if you will, but there's something very real happening in Nigeria right now. I think that it's important that we pay attention to, because this is a tipping point. This is where things may get worse, but hopefully for positive change, or it could just continue and stay the same. Folks have asked so many times, what side of history do you want to be on? And today I ask you that too. On the side where you ignored it and pretended it didn't happen and hoped that it went away, or the side where you actually join in and speak up against injustice that is very clear in broad daylight, that is time-stamped on video. Where do we go from here, Nigerians? Now, on that note, that concludes our show for today. I hope, if anything, you leave today knowing a little bit more and understanding why people are out there protesting, understanding why it's so heated right now for so many Nigerian youths, understanding why people are protesting even outside of the country. I hope you go away with that understanding today. Now, as always, you know that you can keep up with the Gbkm network in various ways. You know, now we have our website where you can keep up and you can listen live as you used to at www.gbkm.fm. You can also watch live at www.gbkm.tv, where you can also catch past shows. You can listen to live radio, watch live TV, all in the same place right now. So that's some really good, exciting news from us at the Gbkm network. You can also watch on Facebook now with our page Gbkm Television, and on YouTube, Gbkm TV, where you can like, share, subscribe, comment, join in the conversation. We truly urge you to, especially as we continue our NSAR series here on the Chat Up Show as well. We like to hear from you as always. And you can follow us on Instagram, as you know, at Gbkm FM, Twitter at Gbkm_FM. Again, thank you so much to our sponsors, Coded Signature, who you can check out at codedsignature.com. That's coded with a K. Again, that's codedsignature.com to check out all of the Afrocentric apparel that they have to offer. Again, showing off our Queen Idia hat here. And if you'd like to get a 10% discount at checkout, just use the code GBKM. Again, for 10% off at checkout, use the code GBKM. And Coded Signature does ship worldwide, so do not worry about location. And you can follow me, as you know, your host, Elizabeth Lloydie, on Twitter and Instagram at TIS_Liz_O, as I continue discussing what is going on in my home country of Nigeria and discussing and sharing as much information about what's going on in the End SARS protest. And as always, you know, I'm so excited to be able to chat with you guys again at the same time, same place next week. I hope that you take care, stay safe, and I will chat with you then.
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alone. Just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorize to keep you from evil theology. For you, the darker hue, you denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
We've got MP Sahoda, Minister of Parliament from Brampton North.
And I've downloaded my app as well. Encourage all your viewers to do the same, because nothing is easier than having, you know, your favorite program.
Make sure to download our app on iOS or Android, GBKM on either platform.
This kind girl me I never see. This kind with some more I never see. Baby girl, take me to your privacy. I don't go for your heart and I'll be Pharisee. Aye, give me energy. Fine girl, give me energy. Give me energy. Baby, make it give me energy. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. A lot of this, a lot of that. Your point time, I go give you that. You got the keys to my heart. So calm down, only you I got. Why anything when you do, then they complain, oh, oh, oh. Girl, if I lose you, wait till be again, oh, oh. This kind girl, me I never see. This kind with some more I never see. Baby girl, take me to your privacy. I don't go for your heart and I'll be Pharisee. Aye, give me energy. Fine girl, give me energy. Give me energy. Baby, make it give me energy. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. Although you fine, you done make me the single. Although you bad, me I go give you that ring. Oh no more say, you want more say. Baby, that how we want say. I swear, now you be my Beyonce. You get to waiting there, your body I the fancy. Kuluma, Kuluma. Now your name I the see all over. Kuluma, Kuluma. Now your name I the see all over. Hey. Give me energy, bad girl, give me energy. Give me energy. She dey give me energy. Oh, you fine, although you bad, although you bad, although you fine, although you bad.
Quiz on the mix.
Yeah, although you bad, nice nation. Entertainment. Mr. Happiness. Why anything when you do, then they complain, oh, oh, oh. Girl, if I lose you, wait till be again, oh, oh.
We've got MP Sahoda, Minister of Parliament from Brampton North.
And I've downloaded my app as well. Encourage all your viewers to do the same because nothing is easier than having, your favorite program.
Make sure to download our app on iOS or Android, Gbkm on either platform.
This is a song. Hello and welcome to another Gbkm Red Carpet presentation right here from the official Black History Month kickoff brunch hosted by the Ontario Black History Society. Of course, I'll be your red carpet host for this evening, Romain Redmond, and I am the host of the Alternative Show on Gbkm FM. So with February being celebrated as Black History Month right here in Canada and across the world, of course, the Ontario Black History Society kicks off its official celebrations here in the province. So they outline the schedules and also just remind us of the reason why we do celebrate the rich history, heritage, and of course the contributions that the Black community has made to the province. So don't go anywhere. We'll be talking to the organizers, dignitaries, officials, and also patrons as they come out to celebrate this monumental event. So stay with Gbkm FM. Don't forget our platforms on Facebook at Gbkm TV. Get us on YouTube at Gbkm TV, on our website www.gbkm.fm, also in TuneIn app at Gbkm, and you can also get our app from our website and take us with you wherever you go. So don't go anywhere. We'll give you all the exclusive access right here. Well, and I'm being joined by the lovely Fernanda here. But Fernanda, we're at the official Black History Month kickoff lunch, and you said that you were here with your organization is?
It's the Central Technical School Alumni Association.
Wonderful. And why was it important for the association to be at this event, though?
They are great supporters of one of our projects. We have been paying tribute to one of Canada's first Black Olympians, Sam Richardson. So they were supportive of naming the pathway in front of the school after Sam Richardson. And this year, on May 13th, we're going to unveil a Heritage Toronto plaque in his honor. And this was possible through the help of many people, and the Ontario Black History Society was instrumental.
Absolutely. I wanted to say thank you so much for coming and representing, and congratulations on the great work that you're doing. But have a lovely day today, okay?
Thank you.
By Spider here. Of course, I got it correct, right? Wonderful. But you're here at the Black History Month official kickoff. How are you feeling so far, though?
Feeling good. We're really happy with this year's turnout as a board member. You put so much work into this for this annual event to kick off Black History Month, and we've got so many great entertainers and people from all walks of life here today to share a little Black history and have a great time and celebrate.
Absolutely, but after so many years of doing this, it's still important that we do it. And what is the significance of us continuing to do things like these?
Well, obviously the pride. Remember, Black history was not taught in school. So a lot of you, without organizations like the Black Ontario History Society, kids wouldn't know this. And I think that's one of the most important things to emphasize. We, the Black community, has contributed to this nation as much as any other. We have so many people that, for instance, I am the first Black man to go coast to coast on radio.
Wow.
Here in Canada, and that was in 1994 at the Fan 590. So I mean, it took us that long to get there, and one of the things I do is try to share that with the public, what it was like, and you feel sort of excluded and alienated, and from my perspective, there's still not enough people of color in the media, especially in radio. You don't see it. Well, you can't see it, but you don't hear it, and we need more of them in the production room, so we can get different perspectives on the Black community, and so that's one of the reasons that I joined as a board member for the Ontario Black History Society.
Absolutely. I wanted to say thank you so much for the work that you have been doing on the committee, on the board, and also putting this event together for us on an annual basis so that we can bask in the pride of our Blackness, right?
Absolutely. It's very important, because when I grew up going to school, we didn't know anything about Black history. We really didn't, and so we didn't have the kind of pride that people like Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali and Barack Obama and Malcolm X have instilled into us, about the people like Harriet Tubman and Medgar Evers, and the list goes on and on. We've contributed so much to this great nation.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for joining me on the carpet today. But have a great day today, okay?
My pleasure. Thank you.
Joined by the lovely Marika, of course, and she's of course here supporting the grand effort in launching Black History Month. But Marika, tell me, how are you feeling so far? What's happening in the room?
Oh, I love it. I love the atmosphere, to see everybody coming out of all nationalities and supporting today. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. But as we say, why is it important that you must be here every year, not just this year, but and for those at home too, to come out and support an event like this?
It is very good to see different cultures and different careers. So even for the young generation as well, to see that there's people out there, not just what's on the media, but also to see that we're out here. I'm also in transit, city transit, and I'm also in the healthcare profession.
Wow.
And I'm also on the executive board at QP for my local as well. So we're all out here supporting the cause, and it's beautiful.
And it's wonderful that you should choose to say that, because the lovely thing is I'm seeing literal police commissioners, I'm seeing doctors and lawyers, everyone is here. And even though those are traditional fields of career paths, but everyone is represented.
Absolutely, and that is the beauty of here, just to see that and know that anyone can do this in all various careers. It's beautiful.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining me here. Have a great day.
My father is an inspiration to all us, all the sons, and I just want to say to my dad, thank you for everything, and we appreciate what you've done for us and how you've raised us to be fine young men and honest men. I just want to say thank you to you.
Of course, I'm being joined here by or local police here, Peel Region Police, but especially special here today is of course Mrs. Berkeley Brown. But Mrs. Brown, events like this, launching Black History Month, of course yourself being off our group, but of course the police getting involved in initiatives like these.
Right, absolutely. This is one of the important events. As an organization, Peel Regional Police is committed to working with the community, and of course that includes the Black community. So events like this is just kind of what propels us to continue to do that work and try to make the inroads with the community.
Absolutely, and I know that one of the mission for the police department is really bridging that gap between the department and the community. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
And I'm speaking for Peel. In Peel, that is a key thing, because we all know that to build trust, develop trust, it is about working within the community. In Peel, we have what we call our community mobilization team, and that's a group of officers who are committed to being in the community, getting to work with the community. We've got a new chief, Chief Nishan Duriapa. One of the things we do is we've got various advisory committee. One of those is the Black Community Advisory, the Chief's Black Advisory Committee. So that is made up of leaders and members of the Black community of Peel.
Wonderful, but are you liking the turnout here today, because it's a full room?
Absolutely. Listen, as a woman of color and a member who is committed to community development, when I see groups like this, it's inspirational, it's inspiring, and it makes me as an individual want to do even more and get so much more involved with the community. I love it.
Absolutely. I want to just say thank you so much for joining me on the carpet here today, but enjoy the rest of the day, okay?
I will. Thank you so much.
You see, I've been around a long time, and you know I pay my dues. All right, come on, wait a minute for me.
Of course, and right now I'm being joined by the president of the Ontario Black History Society, and I tell you the efforts that herself and her team has put together for this event is absolutely spectacular, and she's just going to give us some insight into that. But Miss Henry, of course, congratulations to you on today's stage.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so glad that you can join us. It's great to see a wonderful turnout, another sold-out event as we celebrate our 32nd annual kickoff brunch for Black History Month. And so, you know, I'm looking forward to a great program.
Yes.
Yes.
But of course, you are the president, but putting together events like these, I mean, the official launch of Black History Month, give us some insights into what that is like for the board and yourself. I know it's busy.
Our board is phenomenal. We have a great group of volunteers and our office staff, our manager Michelle and our office assistant Pam, and we have student interns. We start planning, you know, months in advance.
Absolutely.
It takes quite a bit to, you know, to pull this off, and so, you know, we have a real good effort to help pull things through together for this day. And, you know, when we come here and we see the turnout and how much people really enjoy it, it really makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely. But 37 years